This is on the bottom.
He's at the bottom. Riz.
Obi with me.
How you guys
good?
doing?
How was your lunch? We had that turkey. How was it?
Yeah, not too bad.
Mixed it with a little bit of that salad over there.
Yeah, I was just eating some of. I think I finished it. It was okay. It was started making me feel a little tired, but you know, turkey.
Tired.
Turkey will do that too.
I thought someone debunked that. What is it, tryptophan or something like that? You have to have a whole bunch of it for it to actually make you tired.
Yeah.
You just grabbed a coffee though, so.
I did grab a coffee, so I should be fine. Yeah, lunch was okay. Lunch was all right. Didn't really do much. I was looking for trades. Didn't really see too much. Played a couple games of Age of Empire with the boys. You know, not too bad. While watching the market, it's been helping. Honestly, it's been helping me not overtrade. To be honest, because I'm focused on the game and I have all my charts open, and I'm like, something really needs to call out to pull me away from playing Age of Empires, to be like, oh, that's a trade. I know that's playbook, and it's a no-brainer to take it. So I just throw in the position, put in the stop, get back to focusing, and then kind of not really paying too much attention to the tape.
Just I can't do that. If I'm sitting at this desk, I have to be basically.
Pug Life in the chat, he was like, what's your Discord handle? And I was like, well, Pug Life, that's proprietary information.
Is it?
That's proprietary information.
Can you block people that follow you or whatever? Or?
I don't know. You gotta find me first.
I gotta find you. Okay.
I might be a little incognito on there.
Right, I don't know. What's up, Silverado Blue? Says thanks for the help. Yeah, you're welcome. I don't know what I did, but you're welcome on that one. Yeah, look, I'm short the NASDAQ right now as we're starting to fall back in just a little bit here. I don't know. Sharif just said I would be happy that Palantir was going up. I'm very happy, but I did just try to short it. Right here. So we actually just got stopped out. I was looking at that same move that Joe was looking at and I was like, what? So yeah, that did make a move up there. So I did try to short it. Basically, once we popped through VWAP, I was sort of thinking to myself, is it going to take this 1250? Like that was a pretty decent move up, followed by a move up in the futures. So I was thinking, you know what? If we're actually thinking to trade this, let's just go over and put on a futures trade. So a little sloppy early on the TQs. We talked about that. And once it dropped through the bottom, wow, we didn't have the ability there to reverse it into a short. But we do put on the short now as we are at the 50-period moving average rate here, kind of coinciding with a little bit of a top action. 73, 74 was the top, and I just want to make sure that is where my out is. Yeah, so right into there. If we could take that out, then we'll get stopped out. Otherwise, let's see if we can retrace back down here this afternoon into 52 proper would be nice. So got to get a little lower than that. We're short at 52.60 right now. Only position on for us is that, and yeah. I like it. We'll see if it can work itself out here, back down in. But yeah, what a day. Tesla, I actually heard Sharif say $20 top to bottom. That was a pretty violent day for Tesla, making that top up here right when we opened, man. 294. That was an area of sell zone. You were talking to me about that earlier.
Yep. There's a supply zone, 290 to 295-ish, whatever you want to call it.
So that pretty much ticked exactly.
Beautiful follow through.
The top of that, and then the follow through there. And then same thing with Tesla. We were long, early loss, got it back. Then dropped it off and did not see this coming, man. Did not see that drop into 272. So potentially Tesla's going to be on our board here to talk about. So that should be interesting. Thank you, Dan McIsaac and all of that there. What was that question, Dan? Curious why you thought net long this morning. Yeah, I mean, I had Palantir written down long. I had Nvidia written down short. I had Big Bear, IBIT, and Tesla all for the long. So just because we were flat to up earlier on, Dan, during the day. I'll talk about that when we start to discuss some of the charting and what we were looking at earlier. But yeah, I sort of thought we could be in for a little bit of a strong Monday ahead of some of these tech earnings. But yeah, I mean, the trend has been downside. So we did get tricked a little bit there by going short. By going long early. Missing that Nvidia might wind up.
Yeah, I think that Nvidia, both that Nvidia and that Tesla, I kind of looked back at the Tesla and I was like, this was a B, at least a B plus trade for me, which turned into an A plus. Short on Tesla. Again, you had that market tailwind and that confluence as well. And I was like, all I had was a scalp underneath VWAP on a trade, which was pretty pretty damn close to an A+, I would say, for what I've been looking at and for a certain higher time, or not necessarily higher time frame, just reversions in general. We kind of reverted some of the bid from last week, right? So higher time frame kind of thing like that. But that's all great and dandy. But Sean, you got to answer a question for all of us now. We've been waiting for this answer. Did those paddles help you swim faster? That's the real question.
I feel like it might have.
And did it work? Did it?
I feel like I might have been swimming faster.
But it felt more like you felt it in your upper chest? Not yet?
Yeah, it's interesting because I was actually thinking about this too.
Yeah.
It felt almost the same, like it felt almost easier a little bit.
Really?
I don't know why. So I think it's just, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just getting that strong now.
Yeah, you never know. It's like, oh, this is easy now.
If I ask Rock or whatever, I think they're supposed to be better for me. So it's good. It's good for the form. The paddles are working well, so thanks for asking. Yeah, we had a great swim. It was election day here in Canada, so at the Y, there was some election polling going on, or voting going on there, so it was a little busier. And right here, man, get out there and vote, Canada, if you do have that chance. I mean, don't waste your vote. That's the only thing. I mean, we all know the way the political color, yeah, exactly. My kid's doing it at school, and she's like, Dad, I voted for the Green Party. I'm like, obvious. Of course, the school gets that going.
I saw a sign for I saw a sign recently for what's it? The Communist Party.
Is there one here now?
That was interesting. I took a picture. I was like, that's not something you usually see in the wild, but
yeah, Communist Party.
Yeah. It's their slogan was something about something prosperity and not war. I don't know. It was interesting. It was
down with capitalism, right, Obi?
Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting to see that there, and someone put that up on their lawn. But yeah. Nothing too crazy other than that. This market's
those polls will close tonight, 8 o'clock or 9 p.m., and then we'll see what winds up happening. Strong. I was just showing the poly market and the Kalshi. It's still strong favored Liberals. I mean, so I don't know if that includes polling data outside or not, but yeah, 80-20 right now.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was the first time with Trump and Hillary, but I know that Donald, especially as the votes were coming in, turned it to be a quite big underdog, and then after all, Vegas, I think, lost a lot of money there because they had to catch up with some of those polls and turned it the other way there. So I think 80-20 is probably pretty solid as far as elections are concerned. So, all right, we'll go over and we'll see, man. Looks like Liberal government. And then hopefully, as Trump has been talking, he kind of likes dealing with Carney, I thought, anyways. So we'll see if that can create more deal making here for Canada and our tariff situation. But all right, let's go back over now to the screen and figure out what's on the rundown.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Obi, you saw in for Neil, but the boys are ready. They're locked and they're loaded and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there is to join Joseph and I on the Midday Show and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But you got to be a subscriber in order to vote and engage with us in the chat. So you make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. All four major averages, guys, they're all negative on the day, some more than others. So the NQ down about, 0.75%, underperforming, that is. The S&P 500 down about 0.5% right now, with the Russell 2000 essentially the same thing, about down 0.5%. The Dow outperforming them all, essentially almost flat on the day, 0.09%. So we'll keep an eye on the Dow as it holds that $400 level. Amazon, the first ticker as decided by you guys, and how appropriate. We've got the Amazonian with us, down 1.5% on the day, about 186 right now. Oppenheimer chimed in earlier about Amazon lowering the price target to 220, guys, from 260.
Yeah, that was pretty wild move off the morning there. Took a little bit of a swing on this green candle here into the Amazon there, and we did catch a little bit of a bid on those pre-market lows. But you can see that again, market tailwind dictating a little bit of a sell-off today, and yeah, selling off is what Amazon has been doing. off of the open there, opening range low. This consolidation. I was kind of watching this 187. We can see that little bit of a double bottom that happened here. Now this is a 3-minute chart, so you can see here on the 3-minute this low right here, 187 halves, and then once again roughly 187 halves as well. When that does break down, we kind of get a little bit of that trend coming in again on the day. But Amazon's not the only one that's beaten down, right? Like you can see the futures pretty much selling off pretty aggressively. We talked about how we had a grinding bid last week, and we got a bit of a break in trend today. So yeah, selling not only just on Amazon, but a few of the other Mag 7 as well.
Yeah, Amazon. Okay, so look, Amazon was the winner of our poll earlier. I actually have the poll results right here. So let me just open image in new tab here. It comes right here. So we had this poll earlier. Thanks, Fabian, for sending this to me. Apple. So this was if you could buy a company now, you know, either just today, you know, all these companies still yet to report. It was which one were we most interested in picking up? And we had over well, look at that. Ominous. 666 right there. Ooh, votes. So 4,666 votes. It's locked in pretty solidly there with Amazon. So we do know the crowd likes Amazon. I'm going to get rid of that. So we know that. But today, Amazon is not beloved by the crowd because it, again, great trade early, Obi, on that one, being able to get out of it, and then boom, right to the downside where the whole market kind of fell through. Then Amazon took another leg down, and right now, I should maybe be looking at Amazon for the short instead of even this market, because that's what I'm trying to do is short here off the 200 period moving average. So yeah, good little level there for Amazon. We'll wait to see what winds up happening here rest of the day. And their report comes... what day does Amazon come out here? Let me just go find that really quickly. AMZN here. They're going to be reporting in 3 days on May the 1st. So after market close, Thursday, May the 1st, join myself that day. And I think probably with Sharif and Adara, and we'll be covering Amazon earnings as they come through. So yeah, I mean, again, like the stock, I think we buy this name down here at 170, a great trade. Amazon, let's see if we can get through these tariffs. A little traders are, I guess, maybe worried. There was that report that maybe Prime Day today, once Prime Day starts to hit, it may not be as exciting as in the past. We saw, what was it, Temu or Shein, something like that. We're starting to pass on some of the tariffs. So yeah, there was a idea that, or an article that we had earlier, I think Adair must have had it there, where something on Temu or something was $18 like a week ago, and today it's $41 or something. And the claim on that was the tariffs are being passed along to the consumer. Okay. So same product, different price. All right, let's go over talk about Nvidia, the short that we do not have but should.
The worst performing Mag 7 day far and away today. Nvidia down over 3.75%. There's a reason. Huawei coming out overnight saying that it's developing a comparable AI chip to Nvidia's H100. Obviously a response to the multiple export bans that both the Biden and the Trump administration have imposed on Nvidia and other microchip companies for exports of these advanced AI chips into China, guys. There's two models, the C and the D, with the D being the stronger. The D we're likely to see at the end of May, the C version of their Ascend chip, likely in the beginning or the middle parts, guys.
All right. For me, just frustration, and I'll go throw over to Obi. I'm not frustrated with it. It's just, it was the second idea on here. It was 110 short. We were even asked in the chat earlier, and I think we were talking about, Brendan threw this to me, and he said, which way is the path of least resistance, remember? And I said short. You know, and that was already on our list. So there it was, 110 short. You know, easy to say when it's at, no, it was easy to say the whole time. I mean, we kept saying it. And it was just, I was only looking at this rate here, was 110.25, 110 and change. So thought that when I was writing the sticky note down here, 109.30, if we ever got to 110, we'd want to short that. It's actually really bad, too bad that it happened in the pre-market, because that gave me concern that, hey, maybe the short is not in today, right? And so we did wick up to 110.35, which actually is perfect right into there. You know, we were too busy looking at other things and even trying to catch longs in Tesla at this point. But there's that 110 and there's 106. So, or I guess the bottom, very bottom is, yeah, 106. So $4 missed opportunity for that one, man. Pie in my face. We should definitely be short Nvidia. And even though we missed it there, we still didn't even really go back to it. There's the 50 period, there's VWAP. So there was lots of opportunity to get short here at the beginning of this day for Nvidia. Now I'm not sure we want to be short anything, although I'm just going to let this futures trade settle down. We've been covering it. So yeah, I don't think it's a short now that we've broken above the 200 period, but there it goes. As Sharif mentioned, the shortest of the shorts today, down 3% of the Mag 7 names. Nvidia continues to pump a little bit higher right now. I think it's another short, but you got to wait for VWAP at this point. You got to give it some room. Make sure that the shorts win. So I think there'll be some traders that will come in and try to protect this VWAP. Make sure we stay under there because you always want to you don't want to be caught. We talked about this with Michael Noss and some of the traders there working on big desks. They always want to look back at the end of the day and say, are we long or short above or below VWAP? So if the short's going to print out, we want it to end underneath VWAP today. So you're going to have to wait for a 108 print to come through. That's where I think we get a little spicy here with Nvidia. So that's sort of my weight. And I don't think we're too far away, right? I mean, if these futures keep on doing what they're doing, we should be up there in the next little while. So 108's a short for me there, Obi.
Yeah, I think that's very very valid, very fair. We've seen that again, supply coming in off the open, that 110. You can call it a pre-market false break. You can call it a pre-market low breakdown. You can call it lower highs or a VWAP consolidation, VWAP sellers. There's so many different ways that you could have described this, and a lot of it just came in pretty decently off of the open there on Nvidia. That 110 was quite nice. I was looking for continuation here above that prior day high of 112. We did not get that. We could not even sustain some of these pre-market levels. So a little bit of a pullback to start off the week here when it comes to chips. I also want to keep an eye on SMH as well. You can see that SMH kind of trading near the lower end of Friday's action as well. So keeping an eye on that one if I'm going to be touching Nvidia. But yeah, a little bit of a push back up into VWAP. We got that bid back up. We saw how interesting 19.5 was in the morning. The question now becomes, have sellers stepped down? Here, when I say 19.5, I mean the NASDAQ. The question becomes, have sellers stepped down? And are we going to see some more selling on this week? We did kind of break the trend of last week's bid, and we came in pretty hot off the open with sellers in charge. So have we shifted on the short term? I have no idea, but I'll definitely be watching Nvidia. Let's see if we can get back to that 110. But I think if we're kind of making these lower lows and lower highs and VWAP stays heavy, 105 could be well within range as well, Sean. So
yep.
We'll keep an eye on it.
I'm hoping so. We're short futures. All right. Robinhood, a great name to trade.
There was really no specific catalyst on this one today, boys, but it had an interesting pop-up there with a lot of the overall market going green to red on the day, down below 50 bucks, down almost 2.5%, 48 and a quarter, guys. We'll keep an eye out for Robinhood, but yeah, nice off the bottom there from last week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you want to take this one to start if you want?
Sure, yeah, no worries. So Hood, I did kind of have on watch this morning. You can see that it might have been doing a little bit of relative volume in the pre-market session, but it wasn't necessarily one of my main watches to say. But we saw that it pushed up into 5107 off of the open, and more of the same here relative to the rest of the market. We kind of broke back below that opening range in and around 11 o'clock. Going into the midday session, we broke that opening range low, traded a little bit lower. Now we're trading in the lower end of the daily range here on Robinhood. Higher time frame. Again, this one has been bidding up pretty nicely over the past a week or so. You can see that lows here at 2860s all the way from the beginning of the month, Monday, April 7th. We made that low. I think that's a 4 a.m. Yeah, that's a 4 a.m. low in the pre-market. We've been making higher highs and higher lows since then. So we kind of got above. We talked about was it this ticker I talked about where I was like, oh, okay, the anchored from some of those highs. Maybe it might have been, maybe it wasn't. But regardless, you see that we are now trading above this anchored, which was holding as a resistance. We got above that last week. So let's see any sort of pullbacks into prior structures. 45s might be worth a look, but as of right now, I'm not really seeing too much in the hood, but let's see what Sean thinks is good.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of good in the hood. I mean, you know, we've said that Robinhood has been, you know, a real aggressive stock when the market wants to go up. like we were doing earlier on today. And then when the market gets hit, it's the other way around. So it's a very, very aggressive beta to the NASDAQ for sure. I mean, I don't follow the S&P 500 as much as we do sitting here watching the NASDAQ. So again, another play, we just talked about Nvidia trying to watch out for that 200 period moving average here on the daily. Obviously, Nvidia needs to get above VWAP is what we were talking about because it already cleared this. But we're underneath the 200 and looking to get a little bit lower here on Robinhood. We hadn't spent that much time over and above, right? I mean, we had that huge break there of 50 that brought us all the way to 51, and then we tapped out, and then it was just downside pressure from there. So, I'm always thinking about earnings plays at this point, and how close are we to earnings? And Robinhood, we had a great report. This is now only in 2 days. So Wednesday evening, April the 30th. So you don't have to wait too long for this. The short float is only 4%. So, crypto is now back a little bit, as we've talked about that, trying to hold out for 95,000. That's still Palantir. 95,000 or so. I don't know why we switched back over there. So as long as crypto remains pretty hot, and I know that some of the altcoins have had to move, and so has Bitcoin this quarter. We talked about Robinhood getting that increased number of, I think it was up 700% in crypto trading, and plus more accounts coming on board right now with Robinhood as of last quarter. I'm expecting a good quarter for them, so I think it's safe to somewhat buy these dips, but to get involved in a name a couple days before earnings is risky. We can't predict what they're going to report or how they're going to guide. So I'd say try to let it settle down. But once April 30th comes, was it pre-market April 30th? Let me just check. I think it's always after hours, but I never know with some of these financials. After market. So, I'll make a call there Wednesday around this time. We'll see what the price is. Just like we said, buy some Tesla at 231, before the earnings, Now you're up obviously pretty sweetly there, 25%, 30% from that call. Let's see if we can make one on Robinhood, but I'd like to see the price closer to that earnings date. So Robinhood, I like it. And right on track, it's Tesla up next.
A decent recovery here for Tesla. Sean, was definitely well lower, down still 1 1/3%. Went green, then red. Today we got word that there might be a new Model Y, a cheaper version of the Model Y, codenamed the E80, under development. It's supposed to have a lot less of the standard features included in Tesla, like more like cloth, no air-conditioned seats, and a smaller battery, guys. Still yet to be confirmed on by the company, but it did rise this morning on those news.
Oh boy.
I thought Fabian was coming over here to fix my mic. I immediately I don't want to upset Ramin. She's over there on the board if anything happens over there. All right, Tesla. Look, both you and I.
Yes.
You have the chart. Why don't you go about your supply zone? Because for me today, I mean, I had written down real just go long at 285. Once it broke, I'll just talk about my trades, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff that you were looking at up top. But it was a good trade. We got out of it. We lost about $1 and change, maybe a little bit less than that. Then we bought it back, and then we were even on Tesla. And now that I look at the stats, I'm going to be slightly down because of this last trade. But we had evened it out after all of this, and now we're just slightly down. A couple cups of coffee there. 284, we tried to buy into that low of the day. And I remember Obi and I were sort of looking at this trade together, and Obi did not rebuy that dip, and I had and made some money, only for it to drip out again, or not even drip, just actively have that tank through 284, 285. So yeah, the low of the day did not hold, and there was really no reason for it to do that. We couldn't get above any of these key levels. So to me right now, we're kind of barcoding, but you're in the middle. I'd rather either be above or below VWAP. So let's see if we get a little closer before we make a decision here on Tesla. But what a wild day. This is probably like Tesla and Palantir. I mean, all these names on here, are just such great trading tools for this market these days. They seem to have quite the range and can't stop, won't stop. Like every day, it's the same run-of-the-mill names, but they're always acting just a little bit different than each other, right? So what was that level you're looking at for Tesla?
I was looking at, I kind of pointed out 290s, high to mid to low 290s was what I was looking for here. And you don't need to look much further than just an hourly chart. This is a 1 hour chart here on Tesla. Let me just pull it over so you guys can have a better view with it. You can see Tesla right here. I think somebody in the chat was saying that, you can't see the charts. What I'm looking at, you can always kind of look in the corner of the chart right there. You can see the TSLA. So we're looking at Tesla right now. This is an hourly chart. And yeah, kind of coming in aggressively. Again, we want to take in. So coming into today, before the market even opened, we saw that we had this information on the chart. So we're coming in, we're seeing just this, right? So prior day high, Friday's high is 286s. Pull it back right here. So I'm like, all right, cool. So coming into Sunday, on Sunday, I'm looking at my tickers. I'm doing some scans, and I'm like, all right, Tesla is actually coming into a pretty interesting area. Why is that? Because the last couple of times it came into that 290, we're going sideways, right? We're going sideways. We found kind of a base here, 215 once again. But you can see every time it kind of came up to this 290s, there was a little bit of a supply zone there, and as that even stepped lower here as well, in and around, what is this, April 9th. So coming into today, I was gonna be like, all right, well, this is a pretty clear level here. It's showing up on the chart, multiple tests of that 292, 291, whatever you want to call it. Get in there, get specific, that's fine. But that's the area I'm looking for. Coming in off of the open, I'm like, all right, well, do we see more of the same? You can see that every time we came into these levels, sellers stepped in. Not only did they step in, they stepped down as well. So again, the chart is showing us here that, yeah, there was supply, right? We don't know if there is going to be supply coming into the open. But you have if-then statements for both ways, and then that's what I was saying. I was like, if we can sustain action above 295, I like it for the long. But if we see more of the same, I have to get short. And we pretty much false broke those highs. Today's high is 294.85. These highs from prior, we got 276s, that was the lower high, but right here, 292.77 was one of those highs here on the 3-minute. So you can see basically when we come right back in through that 293, 292, I think that's an area to definitely watch. And I got involved underneath VWAP, which again I waited for confirmation, which is a little bit it's great. The trade is there. That trade is a trade in itself. But what I'm looking for is up here where probably most people would be uncomfortable shorting. That's definitely where I kind of want to be. Yeah, that bigger picture kind of idea or what the chart was showing us comes in, and it comes in quite beautifully. We got that beautiful follow through all the way from 290s to a day low now currently at 272. In and around 11 o'clock, when I kind of stepped away from the desk, I'm like, all right, well, didn't really want to get involved anymore because I didn't really see too much happening. We made a fresh low. Now we're getting that reversion back in. So yeah, it wasn't really involved here. This was what we did in the morning session. There's that short on top, just underneath VWAP. Didn't really hold it all the way in. Tried a cheeky long on the back through that low, which I already knew. I was like, I know I'm counter trending here, so I got to stay as nimble as possible, but take that continuation short. Actually try to catch the long and piece back a little bit here on the long off of the 247, but over there it starts going sideways. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm pretty much done with it. But here's the thing, Sean, it's coming right back up into VWAP. So this could potentially give us another opportunity here going into the end of the day. We have about an hour and a half left until the bell rings, and Tesla is a little bit poised for that VWAP test that's sitting at 283.30. So I'm being patient to see if sellers step down once again. Do we see more of the same, what we saw a couple of weeks ago, what we saw this morning? Do we see it again this afternoon? That's my look on Tesla. Let's see what it'll have in store for us, but let's see what's up with Bitcoin.
Yeah, this is a chart of IBIT, guys, down about 1.6% after Bitcoin had its best week since the election run back in November, gaining about 10% last week. So good look for Bitcoin, guys. But yeah, selling off a little bit on the day, down below 54 bucks right now is IBIT.
And starting a new short here on Palantir against 113. Just that top, we just wicked a little bit there. I was just looking at it like I'm just thinking short. Obviously, I was looking at the Q short, and I know that we're fighting this move all the way up, but we've been pretty responsible with being able to get out at the right times for these stocks. That's 113.17 right there. Now you're starting to fade out just a little bit here for Palantir. So I don't actually have any bids out right now. Let me put something out here. Low 80s, and then we'll get into something in the low 70s, and then see if we could start to cover. I mean, ideally 112.50. I mean, I'm just going to put it there. I don't think this is just in case there's like, you know, you and I have talked about this. Whoa, what just happened there? Everything just canceled for me. Oh, that was on the TQs. Ah, yeah, my bad.
Something's coming in.
I put the wrong bids out there other than Palantir. bidding Palantir to get out. So why don't you take this over, because I'm screwing up my order entries here.
Some maybe some selling coming in. I'm seeing some wipes into the bid here. Coming in on Tesla as well, but nothing too crazy elsewhere. Let's see if again happening underneath VWAP. So we talk about looking for confirmation, maybe some selling stepping in on VWAP, but again nothing significant enough to be like, okay, yeah, sellers are back in charge now. But let's see what the next thing is Bitcoin right here. So let's take a quick look at that. What has Bitcoin been up to since we started? We started in around 95 this morning. You can see we had that strong bid, kind of taking a pullback off of highs that we made at 95.6s. So that happened in and around 9 o'clock. So just, I guess, roughly just off of the open there. We've been kind of trending down since then here on Bitcoin. So a little bit of a pullback, but maybe are we poised to retest some of those highs? I think we're well within range. We kind of consolidated in and around that 100,000 mark. We're coming back in, so I don't know what's going to happen, but we shall continue to observe and see. But I know that our boy Joe was involved with IBIT. I know there was some decent opportunities there on the day, but I wasn't necessarily looking at this one too much. But I know you were also involved in. Were you involved?
Yeah, I liked IBIT. I liked IBIT early long, and we did wind up losing on it. You know what? Look, the smartest guy in the room sometimes can get it wrong, right? We had Michael Noss today pounding the table for the gold short, and then right now gold's having one of its biggest days here in the last 2 weeks to the upside here, right? And so this is look at the candle that gold's putting in right now. Michael was on our show explaining that this is a short. So today I could see has been a little bit, as far as crypto is concerned and gold, I think they're moving kind of in opposite ways. We were pretty excited here early, and thanks for the throw over here for IBIT, because yeah, we were excited early for it, and then again, the long just did not print out for us. I had marked out, and I even said it here on today's, oh, by the way, sticky notes have returned. Yeah, I like the 54 area long, and we tried it there today, and then we even zoomed back out once. The 54 area just came real quick right off the open, so then we were like, okay, well, I'm not just going to take it and punch out immediately, although it looks like that probably would have been the right trade. We zoomed in and zoomed out, and tried to find where could be a max sort of pain area for us, and we didn't have max pain shares because it was just going like this. We didn't have any levels really to work off of other than that low right there from Friday. So we kind of ignored that level 54 and then started buying 54.80s and whatnot, and then dropped it once we lost that level. We gave it 5 more cents or whatever. This is not that dramatic of a move. It just on the chart, it does look like that. That's 54 and that's 53.35. So it's just this whole move is 65 cents. So, we'll lose probably, at the end of the day, it was probably about 30 cents there. So, sure, man, it's a fail on that one. But really, we need to hear from, because there's a lot of traders here that do think IBIT and whatnot do still have moon to go. And I kind of am, one of those traders. I do like what we're seeing in the crypto space right now. I mean, I was talking about this with Wayne the other day, and I wasn't even talking to him. I was just like, wow, crypto is really Bitcoin. And this is when Bitcoin was 85,000. And both he and I were like, it's holding out quite nice, considering sort of the damage that had been put in. We were traced down almost 20% there, NASDAQ ES. And Bitcoin, although we did hit that 76,000, what a move back up into 93. Now you're only 16,000 or so away, I guess, from all-time high, which we could get to, I don't know, and soon. I don't want to stamp a date on it. XRP, you guys know that when I came on here and we were talking about that was $2. So 227 upside right now for XRP. I still think that has a real great opportunity to go, man. So we've talked about that. We've also talked about Cardano as being one that I like. You're a Dogecoin kind of guy. Solana, I realized I actually have more than that than I thought. So go Solana as well, as I opened up the old account over the weekend and need to see that buzzing a little bit there. So hopefully that'll get going backside for you there, Obi. And then Chainlink, there's a few other names there. I was trading Stellar Lumens. We were able to get out of that one as well. So that's not a bad trade at all for me there with Stellar Lumens, another one of those names that could be used for transferring of money. So similar to XRP, that's 25 cents Sharif. Okay, so Oh, man, it's a funny guy. All right, so we'll wait to see, man. The only position I do have on right now is Palantir, and we'll see where that goes from here. Looking for the short against that 113 topping candle right now. But hopefully the market can come back in. It's 234. So
yeah, nothing
good on that so far. You've got the Tesla short right now. That looks pretty good. Is that a new position? Or?
Yeah, it's a new position just now. Again, just really light. Again, just feeling it out. This could consolidate underneath VWAP. This could go higher. I got no idea. We have been kind of reverting. We've started reverting that morning move pretty decently here. So like I said, I want to stay nimble. I want to stay light. Unless and until it's actually working, then I'm more than willing to get a little aggressive with it. But yeah, looking for the next trade as of right now. So throw it up in the chat. What are you guys trading right now? Have you guys got long during the midday session for this pullback up? This bit of a reversion that we're getting here on the markets. We came right back into that 19.4 area, about 100 points away from that 19.5 where we were chopping around for a couple. I guess was this a couple of hours? About an hour or so in the morning session, it would seem. And okay, so yeah, Tesla's coming right back up into VWAP. Again, we talked about VWAP being at 283. So we still got a couple more points to go if VWAP is going to come in. So I want to stay a little bit patient with that one there. Market's catching a bit of a bid. I'm looking for the next trade. So let me know. Plug at VWAP saying brain wreck. So all right, so let's see if this can do the brain plug walk off of VWAP right here. So yeah, so I guess not really. It's been kind of a consolidating side. It's still trading within the opening range, right? So plug, a little bit of interesting move here. I guess you had to be there a little early to potentially catch some momentum here on plug. But yeah, coming back up into VWAP, not really watching it too much. Daljit saying coin long. Let's see if we can look at this one and see if there's anything there. Yeah, coin long now. Yeah, wow. Okay, so you must have gotten in recently if you're getting excited about that one. That one's taking a nice little bid back up into VWAP there as well. VWAP 203.16s. But again, kind of beat down on the day, looking similar to some of our other tickers here as we've been stepping down below that morning session price action here on coin. Pug Life saying Nvidia, Apple, and Palantir longs. Okay, oh boy, all right. So yeah,
those have all probably been good.
Yeah, so if you caught some of those bottoms there, the longs on a few of those things have definitely been pretty good. Apple, I was looking at that one. Apple, honestly, Apple's probably Apple and Softy relatively stronger than the rest of them because you can see it's retraced over about 50% of that initial kind of flush. If you want to call this the move, we've retraced about over 50% of that move on Apple here as well. What else did you have? PLTR. So yeah, Palantir. Wow, what a beautiful reversion on this one here, Sean. Yeah, false break of that. Not only that, you catch a little bit of a trend break as well, maybe a little bit later. But yeah, trend break, reversion happening here on Palantir, almost near day high. So looking pretty strong as well. And the other one was Softy that I wanted to take a look at. Look at this one right here. So coming right back up into some of these consolidations. So we got that strong quadunk right off of open on Softy. We attempt to bounce. We cannot get above this 391. But guess what? This grinding bid, hello, I've seen you somewhere before. Last week, Thursday and Friday, grindy bid, do not short. Very, very confusing price action. But yeah, 391's coming back in here on Softy. If that can break, that can definitely give us a little bit of oomph elsewhere as well. So one to watch out for, 391 on Softy might serve as a bit of an indicator. Thank you for pointing that out. I will keep an eye on that one now. IK saying Netflix puts. I don't know, man. I was watching it in the morning session there. That pretty much lick grabbed that prior high right off of the open. Again, if you've been watching Flakes for the past couple of days, post earnings, again, these were all-time highs coming in. We consolidated. Look at that breakout. Step up. Nice little consolidation. Step up consolidation. Step up consolidation. Guess what we're doing today, Sean? Sure, we sold off of it, but we're consolidating. Look, step up consolidation. We're still within the consolidation.
Just gapped
so, you know what? Honestly, I'm going to put an alert right here on this high because I want to take the step up if it chooses to do that again. We were talking about this ticker in the morning. The whole market, uncertainty. Things are selling off. Things are kind of much lower than they have been. I'm getting, what am I getting right here? Okay. Interesting. I don't know who that is.
Gotta remember their names, Obi.
Yeah, I've never had that number before, but it's a verified number. So somebody's trying to contact me. I have no idea.
I see what you're doing.
But so 110s. So
Yeah,
sorry,
exactly.
1110s.
Forgot her name already?
Man, I don't know.
Wow, Obi, it's Monday.
Sometimes I don't even remember my own name. Yeah.
Monday, Obi.
You know how it is.
No, I don't. Actually, I don't. That's why I try to live through you.
Dude, that's why you gotta keep the phone on silent.
You know, that's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Did you ever see there's a funny meme? You might have seen this about CeeDee Lamb. Do you know who he is? So when he got drafted, his girlfriend was beside him.
Yeah.
And so he has two phones. So he had one in his hand that he had on, and I think he was waiting, like that's the phone that he was waiting for the NFL players to call.
Yeah.
Maybe we could find it, or I. Yeah,
always pulling it up. Right,
yeah,
right,
and so his girlfriend was beside him. And anyways, there was another phone that was there on the table. And anyways, that phone, I guess, started ringing.
Oh, boy.
And she picked it up, and he's like, give me that, like, he snatch it up.
Wow.
Right from her there. And it was like a whole meme about that because apparently he didn't want her to see what was on that phone.
There it is.
The burner phone there. Yeah. So anyways, we can... I mean, yeah, you gotta.
I want to see this. That sounds absolutely hilarious.
It's just funny the way it goes, but you can see if you do. Yeah. There, see, watch.
Okay.
There, see, give me that phone, and then that's it. And then she just has nothing to say. The rest of it, there it is. She looks up, and then she's like, "Nope, give me that back. Look at this.
Nope,
thank you." Like he doesn't even look at that. It's just like immediately, and the mom beside her, whatever, is just like, okay.
All right.
So I don't know how.
Anyways. I almost saw his some. Look, is that sweat coming off of his forehead?
No, this man ain't sweating nothing.
Oh, okay, all right.
This guy just signed. No. When you're about to get drafted in the NFL, you are just straight chilling, unless you're Shedeur Sanders. But that was a good. That was a funny thing there. So
that's funny.
Yeah. So is that what happened? You just got the one.
Well, no, I keep my other phones at home.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's a good move. So
when I'm on the move, that's what this phone is for. When I'm during the weekend, that's what that phone is for. So, you know.
Yeah. Or the phone's not for that reason at all, which is probably most likely what's going on there. All right. So
there was a time I did have two phones, and then it was
Yeah. What about a beeper, a pager?
A pager. Oh,
you ever heard of a pager before?
Yeah.
Maybe you're too young for that one.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Hit me up on the pager. There's okay. So
call me, page me.
It looks like
was that Kim Possible?
Kim Possible. Did you know that Kim Kardashian identifies as Asian?
That's interesting.
My wife had just told me that.
I identify as a pineapple.
Yes, I noticed that.
Sometimes.
Yo, what's up, Alex, man? Mad love for you, my guy, but not today because Palantir is, well, actually, we're fine on it. It's just we just got shaken out of that top bid there, unfortunately, for PLTR. It just went, I don't know if it elevated there. Like, it was cruising. It wasn't cruising. It was just hanging around, and then it gapped up like 20 cents. And it's a good thing we did have that stop, and we got the price we wanted. We got 30 short right there. So we were short 13s, and we added to the position, and eventually wound up taking like a 20. But, you know, too many 20-cent hits add up, right? Even if you have 500 shares each hit, $100, $100, $100, $100 for you, $100 for me, minus $100 for me. So, yeah, it kind of sucks there for PLTR watching it continue to go higher. But, hey, let's start talking about maybe some smaller cap names if we want to have another look. OMEX not doing too much again. We looked at that one. I heard we talked about this earlier on today as well. Pony AI, another move. I heard Sharif talking about Faraday Futures, changing their name to FFAI as well right now. So that could be a look for FFAI. We'll look at that in a minute there.
That's actually funny.
What, the FFAI?
AI, yeah.
I don't know. I have to find the story about that. If it is just an AI play, then that is pretty cool that they are funny that they did that anyways. All right, so right into there, Pony making that move upside today, up 46%, trying to make that move back in now. You can see we haven't breached VWAP at all today, so I think that's worth having a look at if we do come back into $10. Try to hold it against 970 or so. The only trade, and again, it's going to be another fail. Today, it seems like we don't have too many good trades to show you right now. I mean, we'll talk about them, but this Big Bear AI, it was up early in the pre-market, fell into 370, which we liked. I wrote down on the sticky note that I thought it would travel, or not that I thought, but that decent spot would be into here. So we have a 350 and a 370, which is what we wrote down here. So I thought it was pretty good, and then went back into the money there. So once we were up like 3 or 4 cents, it was pretty small. We were able to take out a little bit, because when you're first, well, I guess we were more than that. Your first price is here at 70, then you get a 50, we got a 55. So getting them out at 70, small winner. Then we had bought a little bit more there at 45. Once we broke through 40, we got out. So we got a 39 fill. Since then, Big Bear AI has been sleeping. So we do need maybe a call from somebody to wake up this stock, because right now, on news today too, right? Sometimes like the news is a great story and it continues to go, or it's just kind of baked in. We've seen some big moves for Big Bear over the last little while. So, you know, just cooling down. I'm still a buyer. I actually want to buy a little bit more than this, of this back at the 200 period moving average, get my average price a little lower. We're stuck at $4 right now. So that's still down 20%, right? Stuck at $4. So not 20% quite, but if we get into $3.20, then we will be exactly short, stuck on that name. All right, here comes the TQs. I actually don't have any bids out, so because I was having those order entry issues earlier. We did have a freeze up earlier on today, and I just,
that was...
you know, how do you deal with that? Like for me, because I've been here for too long, probably, or just enough time, or maybe more coming.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you have that freeze, you can't do anything.
No.
You know, like I remember we used to sort of panic. I remember Sharif one time said, "I'm frozen here," and that was memeable as well. I think I can't remember exactly what he had said there. Yeah, it was some. That's what he said, right? He's like, I'm panicking.
Yeah.
Like that. So there's not much, and you know, he does a better impression of himself than that. but that was like, he was really panicking. So unless I have like a really huge position, you know, we have a support angle here, a support channel. We can easily get into that. But what you know, for you, you know, let's just say we were to freeze, you get punched out.
Yeah, if I get punched out, that's fine. I'd be a little bit more concerned if I was still in position.
Right, okay.
Right? What I've noticed is in the past when I've had PC issues, again, learning curve, right?
Yep.
Whenever I've had PC issues right in the morning where maybe I have way too many tabs open, way too many charts, plus TradingView, plus I'm recording my screen, plus I got this, that, and the other going on, and the computer might, you know, lag or freeze or do something that might, you know, set me off a little bit. And in the past, I'll be honest, if you were to ask me last year, one of my biggest issues was if there was some sort of like issues while I'm in position. After the issue would get resolved, I would basically go on tilt.
Right, and that was where I was going with it.
I would go straight onto tilt. I'd be like, okay, well, you know, I felt like I was owed something. It's a very much an ego thing, right? I sat down. I thought about like why am I getting tilted when that happens? Maybe it's a little bit of that, but whatever it was, I'm definitely a little bit more over it now.
Right.
Where it's like, all right, cool. Like this stuff has happened to me so many times. Like I really don't care anymore because what matters to me more is having the proper mental to be there for the next trade.
Why are you and I just shorting everything?
Because the market's downtrending.
Yeah.
On the day.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the trend over the last
hour or so has been up. Yeah, no,
yeah, which is, I mean, I'm with you on the short. I'm not trying to say.
I don't know. I'm more than willing to be wrong.
I think on this short year than I'm making on the longs. Yeah, no, and you know what else I was going to say too is because it's not always. Depends on your trading style, right? Like there's been sometimes when the system's gone down, it's come back up and you're still in position because you couldn't get out. And all of a sudden you have a 50-cent winner when maybe your plan of action was even get it out at 25 cents or something. So a lot of the time it can work in both directions for you. So I was going to say, if you ever do get that short, that issue with your computer or a PC or anything like that, what I was going to say is we don't worry about it here because we have the support. But, you know, I always think that you should download the trading app that you're using as well onto your phone. Because if something were to ever happen, I'm sure a lot of you do that, and most traders here just aren't trading at home. They're trading on the run or they're looking at their portfolio at any time. So this is probably something that's already been done. But for you new traders, it's just if you get a power outage at home or your Wi-Fi goes down or I don't know, wherever, you know, you're at Starbucks trading, which I don't recommend, you know, then you would hop on to your phone and be able to clear some of your positions that way. So I would just say get comfortable, traders, with being able to exit your trades on different with different methods, whether or not it be phone one in one day. You know, just phone in.
Call up the broker.
That's what I mean. See what the support is like. See how easy it is, because you just don't want to have that huge position on, especially if you're trading options or 0-day options, and it's 2:30 and bang, something goes out. You don't know. Did you watch 0-day yet?
0-day?
It's not. It's
I watched. I remember you guys told me about Rogue Trader. I watched that. That one was good. That
was
one was
a good one.
great.
Yeah, that's a real story, right?
Yeah. That one was beautiful. I'm like, I kind of related. I was like, there are times where I'm like, I get tilted and I try to force trades. He's trying to force trades, right? But he has the buying power. He had enough buying power to actually, I guess, move markets. But the markets didn't really let him move.
Balances, right?
Very long.
Problem. Go into the 5/8 account. I'm putting all my trades today in the 5/8 account.
Yeah, 5/8 account.
That'll be washed out of here real quick. But no, 0-day is with De Niro. It's like his first ever. Like, he's never been on like a TV series or like a special, whatever they call those quick one-time miniseries. Thank you, Adara. And he's getting old, but it's pretty good. He plays a former president, and there's I won't ruin it because there's probably a lot of people that haven't watched it. It's about a month and change old. Yep. But there's like an attack basically on the whole grid, and all the power, everything goes out.
Oh, is it kind of like
yes.
What's a movie with Bruce Willis where they do the fire sale?
Die Hard, no.
Die Hard. It's like not the first one. Die Hard 3 or 4 or something where they had the fire sale.
I'm pretty sure
you're talking about a fire sale.
I thought you were going somewhere else, because there's been a lot of things that have been sort of like this, where all of a sudden there's no more nothing. Internet, power,
exactly.
whatever.
So
trains are running into each other. Airplanes are. Yeah, so perfect. So you know that. Anyways, if you're into that stuff, it's pretty fun to watch. About 40 minutes or so.
You said it's what? Code.
It's called 0-day.
Oh, 0-day.
Yes. Code 0. You type that in Netflix, something will come up. You'll probably be okay with that as well. But, if you're doing that, you can also bet maybe on the next 0-day event, and we can look it up to see if it's available on ProfitX. I would doubt it. But if you want top-tier odds and total control, ProfitX brings you peer-to-peer picking, open API access for automation, and cost-efficient trading all in one place. It's like day trading your favorite sports. Make offers, match plays, and even manage your risk with diverse prediction options. Just don't place picks. Exchange them with ProfitX, the smarter, faster way to play. Traders can use Trader TV, that's it, Trader TV, to sign in, get your 2% cash back up to $300 on qualifying bets. So I'm going to call up ProfitX right now and get that going. So thank you to ProfitX for sponsoring this segment, but I got to spell it right, and then we'll get it up. So yeah, it's a very interesting show that I was watching with the wife there. Oh, and you know what else? What am I doing? I'm not searching this properly. I'll get that in a second. Righteous Gemstones.
Okay, what, another trading movie?
Oh, no. It is a great one. John Goodman, my boy Walter Goggins, Danny McBride is in it. Anyways, they're a religious group. Yeah, Righteous Gemstones, and it's hilarious. They're those preachers where they're collecting the money, building those big, huge mansions out of I don't know. There's a term for them, but anyways, it's hilarious. But it's on 4th or 5th season, and we started watching it right now the next season, and it was really funny. So we try to watch shows like in spurts. Yeah. So we finished 0-day. We're on Handmaid's Tale. Right now, the wife likes that one, and then Righteous Gemstones, absolutely. John Goodman. Do you ever watch Roseanne or?
No, I'm horrible. I'm horrible with names and actors, but like I'm very like I guess visually oriented. If I see a face, I'll be like, oh, I've seen that actor before, but I won't remember their name for the life of me.
It's a good one, yeah. Danny McBride. You never saw Eastbound and Down?
No.
Yeah, that's a baseball movie with Danny McBride. It's really funny there.
What's that? Epic?
Evangelists.
Evangelists? Okay.
Evangelists.
I've seen that baseball movie with.
I'd have to.
With the baseball movie that's kind of related to trading, where they use like stats. Moneyball. Beautiful movie.
Good
I love that
movie. Good movie. Yeah,
that's
great
a really good movie.
True story as well.
Yes.
Yeah. You've seen
really
it.
Like that.
Good. Yeah. So Moneyball.
Moneyball was really good. That actually got me thinking a little deeper about trading. Yeah, a little deeper about trading. Using stats to my advantage and using them to kind of gauge probabilities as well to kind of up the odds. In my favor, right?
Always forever in your favor there. as well. Okay, I'm just getting that all loaded up. I just want to show you the TQs trade just went back to flat for me again. It feels like, you know, when Brendan asked before, path of least resistance up. I mean, I know you had just mentioned to me, you know, your Tesla short's actually hanging in there, which is nice to see, but the futures right now seems to be trying to think about giving me a heart attack again here. We have a good position on, and I don't want to get absolutely destroyed here, but I was still thinking about 53.50, where we had a bunch of stop and go areas right into here. It's not like the most attractive look there, but if you move up, it's like right into there is 53.40. We actually had talked about this. We didn't write it down today into those levels, but this was sort of the level that we were looking at earlier on today. And then we should have just shorted it when it broke it. So maybe it's either, if we can get there, I don't want to go long at that point. NASDAQ's still down. I mean, where do we think the NASDAQ is going? It looks like a lot of these names are starting to battle back today. I mean, even if we look at the watch list right now, okay, why did it just do that? We don't have to zoom in like that. Okay, maybe we can, I don't know, maybe we can zoom in on this little piece right here if we want to just go over a couple names for that. So I was surprised. I mean, we hadn't really looked at Boeing too much today, but Boeing today on my little watch list there, up 2.13%. So maybe some relative strength coming through Boeing if we wanted to look there. Intel, that maybe the surprise of the day, up 2%. Off of a pretty bad earnings report, wondering if we just flushed the bottom there back to 1980 again. We actually got 1940 on Friday or Thursday, whatever day after their report was there. Shopify 1%. Uber, there's our Palantir, darn Palantir. We got stopped out there at 113.50, 60s, I think. So that's about flat. Wish we would have stayed there instead of these futures. Okay, and then Uber downside. Let's just go to the other side of this. So right now it's Coinbase. So no surprise, that's down 4%. If I had MSTR on here, which this is not a curated list, this is my own. So we could add MSTR to this list as well. So that's only down 1.4%. Mara, Nvidia to the downside. Robinhood, there's our Robinhood. Again, love that trade. Maybe we'll go over there and have a look to see if there's some relative strength near the end of the day on Robinhood, trying to make back into greens. Google, DraftKings, there's your Tesla there as well coming into play, Amazon. So yeah, it looks like Boeing really out of this whole list, one of the best ones. Ooh, Apple right at 210 flat right now. So that could be a trade for us, shorting underneath a key level of 210 there for Apple. All right, let's just go back quickly here. Futures still doing that dance, man. We're short right here at 96. It's at O's. That's pretty flat of a move, looking for it to come back in, but the 50 period, let's take it out, man. Like right now I'm bidding 90s because we have to. That's where this 50 period is. Hopefully we can flash down and then maybe get some of these bids, man. 52.50, we called that level. We're able to get some out last time. Hopefully we're able to get some out again right now. TQs, we're rolling short here, Obi. Let's see if it can come into play. It's a decent sized position. I'd say it's about 3, let's call it 4 units in right now on this position. Looking to add to it with our stop up there at 53.50. Could be a disaster though if it goes up there.
Yeah, I'm kind of like slowly. I'm watching this Tesla tape. Again, we were watching it a little bit on the bid up, this grinding up. I'm like, all right, well I want to keep an eye on in and around VWAP. Doesn't have to be perfectly VWAP. We could still technically be wrong because we're consolidating right underneath that area. But yeah, I already took a little bit of a piece off because I'm like, all right, if we're going to consolidate here, look at the futures, man. The futures is pretty strong. But again, if the selling does come in, I do want to get a little bit more aggressive. But until then, I'm just going to try to stay nimble, try to take some scalps off of there. But that 280 was a little interesting as well, and we're catching a bit of a bid. So we keep on stepping up here. So we did break that downtrend from the morning session. I would say technically we started to slow down around 11:30, but trend actually broke, I would say, in and around here. I'd say about 12:30-ish is in and around when that trend broke. And we've been catching a bit of a bid since then here, stepping up after we made that day low. So all the way back at VWAP, looking for those sellers to come right back in. We're catching a little bit of a chop, but again, what do I know? This could all just be noise, and I'm just catching one point one way, 1 point the other way, and it's just confirming my bias, right? I have to remember that. I have to keep that in mind as well. But it's working out for now. We've slowed down a little bit, but again, like I said, that market bid definitely coming in quite strong. If we get back up to VWAP, I do want to retry there again. Hasn't really been selling off that aggressively. So you know what? If we're going to just hold, kind of consolidate here, again, I like the 280, so we'll call it 280 over under. So I'm just going to get out here and let it deal with that. If the market's going to continue to bid up, I don't want to fight with grinding bids.
No.
My lesson from last week was, Sean, don't fight the grinding bid. Don't do it.
I'm trying to fight it right now.
I fought it so much last week, man. I'm just like, it was funny. Was it the last time or the time
There's
prior?
a problem with Obi's mic, apparently. People complaining. I don't know if you guys
Is there something wrong?
didn't hear that.
Feedback.
I'm just trying to stop it for people.
Feedback? Okay. Yeah, I'll move my phone a little further.
Is giving
what was I saying? I think there was a couple, not the last time, but the time I went to Miami before for another trader meetup. I was talking to a couple of guys, and they were like, yeah, some of these guys were like, yeah, the grinding bid can be like death.
Yeah, no,
death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? Yeah, because you think it gets better, it gets better, and if you look at it from like an expected value or a probability perspective, like the more further it gets against you, the higher the probability that it might work, because if you're looking for reversion, that kind of is the game. But like that's a very hard game.
And then it's
exactly, it keeps looking better, and then it could just not do anything, and death by 1,000 paper cuts. So yeah,
you don't want to revenge trade. You don't want to be on tilt. You want to make sure that all of your trades are following some kind of plan. And I'm trying to go short at VWAP on the futures right now. That's always a plan of mine. And our plan right now is to go over and see what Adara's up to.
Is, I would say, probably the biggest pre-market earnings day we have. Here's just 9 tickers reporting tomorrow morning. This is 11. There's actually a lot more of note, but we have Spotify tomorrow, RCL tomorrow, Pfizer, SoFi, PayPal. You can check all of these earnings out, as well as the economic data that we're expecting tomorrow morning on X at TTV Research. Pretty soon, I will also be releasing the implied moves, not for tonight because it's a pretty light earnings night, but for tomorrow morning, because there are a lot of big names reporting. So if you want to figure out what we're expecting some of these tickers to do tomorrow in terms of expected moves, you can check that out on X at TTV Research very shortly. And thank you all for 26,000 followers for the account. Much appreciated. And yeah, always check out the content because I am posting every single day. Back to you.
And would you look at that?
Yes.
There's the bid. On Tesla.
Out.
No, I didn't get stopped. I got out. Remember, I was like, I really don't like this anymore. Like, Wayne and I were talking about this last week as well. It's like, especially in this market, you're getting in for that quick scalp. If it doesn't happen within the time frame you're looking for, that is a very strong reason to close the position. Yes. Right? It's like if I'm expecting this to work within 5 minutes, or within the next 2-3 minute bars, or within the next 15 minutes, and it doesn't happen, I should at the very least, like, size down my position by 50 to 70% at the very, very least, because that's not the trade that I'm looking for. And look at that. Would you look at that bid coming in real hot? So that 19.5, maybe a little bit of a magnet. I have no idea, but here comes in VWAP with some aggressive volume. Let's see if sellers can step back in onto Tesla. If not, then let's see if we reclaim VWAP and start to consolidate, and maybe we start accepting higher prices and do something from there. But I have no idea. Some of the best trades, in my opinion, were right off of the open. We talked about that potential A+ short on on Tesla. Wasn't really looking at Nvidia, but that 110 was really, really nice as well. And we saw that price do some interesting action last week as well, going into the close. But here comes in VWAP. So let's see. I'm watching this as well, and it seems like something might be coming in into the markets here. So we'll just hold off a little bit for that one, and we'll see what Adara has
right there. Yep,
with the news.
One of the names that was on that earnings board we just looked at yesterday's UPS, and right before its earnings, UPS having a bit of a catalyst here, reportedly in talks with Figure AI to deploy humanoid robots. We know Spotify had a couple of breaking news catalysts in the days leading up to its earnings report also tomorrow morning, but UPS joining that here again. United Parcel Services reportedly in talks with Figure AI to deploy humanoid robots. Interesting timing for a lot of these companies with breaking news the day before their earnings, guys. Back to you.
Robotics plays there. There's
R might move on that.
Yeah, Rich Tech Robotics. There's also Arc.
No, it's not doing
Arc
any.
B is Arc B Robotics.
Arc B?
ARC B, let me see.
SERV, right? Serve Robotics. I think that was the other one. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, no, ARC B is Bitcoin. What the hell am I doing? ARC KQ is the normal one there. That's the Robotics, ARC KQ.
Okay.
I was going to look at the earnings, but let me just look at ARC KQ right here just to show everybody. I'm actually in this name, which is why I was like, how do I not know this? We had bought some robotics names a while ago, or this ETF very, very long time ago. I was actually buying it instead of the other ARC. You know, we had Raider Trader on here at the beginning of the year talking about how the next big thing was going to be robotics. I still do agree, but obviously as the market's fallen back in, there were some great opportunities to get this for half price almost. As high was $84, $85, all the way down to 54 on that wick. More reasonable bottom in and around 60. So again, Raider Trader, really smart dude, does a lot of research right here. So, you know, if you are looking for some robotics plays, this wraps it all up in a bundle for you. And you just got to pay Miss Wood her price for management there. Rich Tech Robotics, yeah, that would be another name that you were just talking about right there. But again, doesn't look like we're going bumping a night anywhere.
I wonder if they make more money from selling those products rather than their own investments.
No. They make all the money off the management fees. Yeah, of course. Yeah, because it's, who knows if she has any of her own money in there. It doesn't matter. It's client money, right? She loses it, she loses it.
Yeah, I was
it still
looking at
collects
some
the
of
3 points or whatever on it. I don't know. It's probably not that high. Probably 1.5 or.
The market up or down, portfolio up or down, she's probably winning no matter what.
The minute you, exactly.
Regardless of what the market does.
Right, exactly. So that fee's rolled into the price, right? So, all right. I mean, here we go. We just talked about what a huge pre-market day it is tomorrow, and it sure is that. And then post-market, you're going to get a couple answers. Starbucks been beat up real bad recently as well, down from the short that we just called it. We didn't know. We didn't call it due to the tariffs. It was way up there at 115, 116. Now you're down into the $80 mark. We do like Visa. I think that if you're going to buy any of the, I like American Express better, but Visa coming out there as well. Snapchat's been beat up for a minute. We could look there. I'm still waiting for someone to buy Snapchat, but I don't think that can ever happen if it's a U.S. company because you're going to get involved with the FTC and everything and a competition. They're not going to let any of the major already social media, they're already getting fired at right there, let alone trying to add to their portfolio with Snapchat. So that's a problem. You know, big days though, man. Robinhood and Meta, we'd look at that for Wednesday, Obi. Amazon and Microsoft coming through. Amazon wins our poll. It's the name that most traders are interested in moving forward out of the major mega cap names. ExxonMobil, so that'd be interesting for traders like Randy and those of us that are looking at oil plays as well with Chevron coming out right there.
Apple, Reddit.
Where's Apple? Where did
Apple right there. I think there's Apple.
Yeah, Twilio, Riot.
Yeah, Riot.
We got some blockchain names
BNB.
coming through. It's a big week. Go to Trader TV Research. Adara's already sort of talked about that right there on those. At least follow those two handles. Will take you where you need to go for that one. So, yeah, tonight it'll be Sharif and Adara on the show. And then we were just talking about this earlier, too. Time to talk to Michael Noss and see what he thinks here because he called gold as being a short here today, up 1.4%. So, look, one day doesn't
I still like that trade. As long as gold by the ounce is underneath 3,500, I still like that.
Oh, me too. That's what I was going to say. Not one day makes the trade. Just an update on today's price action. He was talking about getting short, so I assume this kind of a move up probably has helped him getting more short into that position. But he had talked about using Dust. Was it Dust?
Yeah, Dust is the 2x.
Yeah, it was
2x lever.
Bear 2x, yeah. So it was this. There was another one. It was
GLD.
No. GDXJ, but those are the miners. There was another one that I think was triple. So maybe those of you in the chat that are familiar with whatever the triple gold ETF is, but you could see here, this doesn't make much sense because gold, this is a bear. Right, so bearish. Okay, so yeah, we're down, but this can't be 2x gold. Dust. What does it say here for Dust? Daily gold miners. Yeah. So we're looking for gold itself. So GDXD.
Yeah, 3x leverage inverse microsectors is GDXD.
It's crazy, some of these things.
And then there's GDXD and GDXU. And there's Nugget as well, NUGT.
But why aren't these following gold, though? Like
because they're all miners. Well, they're all miners. I'm seeing them here. They're all miners.
Okay, so they're all miners. Yeah.
Related to gold, yes, but not necessarily maybe playing off of gold by the ounce. But yeah, they're all miners, it would seem. Maybe we'll get back to it.
Sebastian. Yeah, okay, let's go to Adara and we'll figure this out before we get back. Yep.
I'm just seeing this come through here on X, but it looks like we're going to have Scott Bessent, who is the White House press secretary, set to join a White House press briefing at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. I am assuming tomorrow, but again, if I find out any more details, I'll let you know. Then Howard Lutnick, who is the White House Secretary of Commerce, is apparently scheduled to appear on CNBC at 2 p.m. Eastern. Again, I'm assuming tomorrow. Both of these individuals, of course, very involved in trade. They're both in Trump's cabinet, and they've been named here as part of the trade initiative. They've both spoken about trade and these tariff negotiations. So these will both certainly be events on watch. Again, to recap, Scott Bessent is set to join a White House press briefing, apparently scheduled at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Lutnick scheduled to appear on CNBC at 2 p.m. Eastern. If I find any more details out on either of these engagements, I will let you know promptly. Back to you.
I think it's just
everything is off. Palantir is ripping. I was just looking at the NASDAQ right here where it's trying to go 19,540. I didn't realize we're in the hour of power, man. This goes fast, Obi.
All right.
Thanks for joining today. Neil will be back tomorrow. Bright and early, of course. We'll be here at 8:30. Palantir still ripping higher, man. I mean, 114. This is at the high of the day.
I think something's coming in.
Like, I tried to short it in this area thinking we were not getting back up here. But you're not holding this thing back at all. Palantir absolutely mooning right now here in the afternoon. Like, this move comes from 12 o'clock, 109. You've added 5%, 4.5% onto this name here in 3 hours, which is fine, but big move. I'm wondering if I should take some off of the personal portfolio right now of Palantir. We've been long this. I have the hat somewhere. I was wearing it around town. But 114.50. The high is 125 right now for PLTR. So you're not even that far away, considering where the market is right now. It's nice to see the market battling back, but you're still down about that 10%, right, from all-time highs. So it's nice to see Palantir is not that. You are a couple percentage points away. And we could even get into that 120 level tomorrow for sure, gapping into that level overnight. All right, we have to address this because it looks like this will turn out to be a decent hit. I was not expecting the move to go up here. You and I both sort of talked about fighting the trend there. You were able to get out of Tesla, which is good. I assume that that's probably much higher than where it is right now. The Qs are just doing that grind that you talked about, Obi, and it's grinding higher. We'll be short at 53.12, but right now we have on like about 6 or so unit play, which is pretty good. I mean, the max will go for is 10. So let's just say we have 600 shares or so on for this one, and I'm not adding to it, man. We can add it. We can take 100 units. It's not. I don't base it like that. I'm just thinking to myself, like, what's the maximum amount of shares that I would want on this? And right now I have like basically 60% of that. So it's a big trade, and it's going to be an L, right? So this is a bad trade right now, looking bad anyways, as we just continue to go higher. Was not really waiting for a news bomb or anything, just didn't think that we would get back into this level right here. And we did. And just climbed through. I honestly thought like in around here, 30s or 40s, that was our last sort of stop. That's where we took some shares. Now we're just giving it a little bit of a bump and see if we can go. But if we can retrace back, remember, we're holding this thing about 28 cents, or what am I short at? 12. So 12, it'll be a 20, what math am I doing? That'll be a 38-cent hit if we were to lose that. So this is gonna have to get sub 53 to make any sense here. And right now, VWAP's at 53. So I do have some orders to get out around there, but then these orders in the 90s and 80s is what really we're looking to get full. They're filled up, if that can happen. So right now, so far, whoever just wrote Caddyshack in the chat, what a great movie. One that you have not seen, I would guess. Not. Yeah. Bill Murray.
Oh boy, here we go.
Hilarious with the little gophers and everything in there. And it also has, what's his name? The guy with those lines. He disrespected me, whatever his name. What's his name there? He's passed away. Little small guy. He's the rich guy in that show. Someone will have it for me in a minute. I got to go get a coffee.
Oh boy.
I should know this guy, man. A stand-up comedian. The guy's hilarious. Anyways, hey, what's up? What's up, Victory? Rodney Dangerfield. I cannot believe that I did not remember his name. So, anyways, great movie there. You should watch it. It must be 35 years old at this point. The golf clubs they use and everything. It's hilarious, and it's a really funny movie. You know Bill Murray though.
Yeah. I recognize the
Ghostbusters.
Yes.
And of course. One of the funniest guys.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Bill Murray. I mean, looks like hell now, but he's getting older. So, what's up to Bill Murray? It's funny watching him golf, of course. Chevy Chase. Yeah, you know Chevy Chase?
No idea who that is.
No idea who Chevy Chase is?
I'm trying to chase this move though right now. That's a bit of a. I'm sorry. It's funny. So I spent some time with my friends after a very long time over the weekend, and then they're just like, Obi, we hate hanging out with you because you bring everything back to stocks, and they're very business oriented, and they're like, yeah, we took all our money out of stocks because we didn't want to hear you talk about
all their money. Wow.
Which was obviously a joke, but
that way they're not interested in it.
I thought it was
as
pretty
much.
funny.
Yeah.
You know? So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I have a Caddyshack. I have not Caddyshack. I have a Chevy Chase little Benum thing on my Christmas tree, where it from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Never heard of that?
No. Sorry, man. See, here's the thing, man. Like
So there's this thing called Santa Claus.
Yes.
You heard of that?
Yeah, of course.
Reindeers.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Rudolph the
Red-nosed reindeer. Yeah. What's your favorite Christmas time movie?
Oh,
Let me guess. Not National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
no. What's that? The claymation one, the classic claymation one. You know what I'm talking about. The one they always play on the TV.
Yeah, it's Rudolph.
Rudolph. Yeah.
Burl Ives.
Yeah, the guy with the beard. Yeah. He does that weird flip with his pickaxe because he's looking for gold.
No. Burl Ives is the guy that wrote it. You're talking. Yeah, silver and gold.
Yes,
silver
that's
and gold.
the one. Yeah,
and then he brutally takes out all the teeth of that poor Sam Squanch there.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? That
He does some dental work. He
didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would say that's the claymation Christmas movie. That's what I call it because I always forget the name, but
I'm thinking more like along those lines.
Yeah.
You ever seen Elf? Will
I
Ferrell?
think I've seen it, but I don't remember, to be honest.
I'm going to ask you one more question about seeing a movie.
Yeah.
And if you say no, nothing's going to happen, but I'll be very surprised.
All right.
Home Alone.
Of course.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Classic. I just love that movie.
So-
that's another Christmas classic, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Yeah, it's the only only time it ever gets played.
Yep.
And we actually bought at our house a home. This TQ's position is just, it's just grinding higher. I'm stopping out at 50. So this breaks 50, we're out. But yeah, we got a Lego. You doing Lego?
I like Lego.
Yeah.
Lego movie, you've
doesn't
seen that?
surprise
I've
me.
seen that. Lego movie.
Many times.
Yeah, of course.
I actually have the Lego games on the Switch.
Oh, nice.
Because the kids
Played
love
those,
that stuff, man. Lego, it's great. Will Arnett,
Oh my God,
Lego
that's
Batman.
big.
You know who Will Arnett is?
No. Tell you, man, I'm horrible with names. I don't really watch sports. I watch movies, but like a lot of maybe action movies. I love classic.
You Die Hard. There we go.
I've seen all the Die Hards.
There we go.
But I really like the one with the fire sale. I think that's like 2 or 3. Or
Right. It must be 3. I don't think it's not 2.
But I like by far favorite movies would be The Matrix because we are living in a simulation. Decent probability. But not that it really matters. But Matrix, absolutely beautiful movies. Keanu Reeves is sick. I also
I will not ask that, Chef Joe, because if the answer is no, then
the Baba Yaga.
I'm not sure. Did you see the Scarface?
John Wick. Sorry? Scarface, like the classic? I have not seen Scarface or Godfather. Those are on my watch. Here's the thing.
Joe, why did you have to do this?
So some of the best movies, I'm keeping them for a little bit later because I know these are
how much longer, Obi?
Well,
like until later, like when? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't.
Rameen's like I should start asking Sean about all the Indian movies that I've seen,
Sure, man.
and he's gonna say no.
I play kabaddi, all that kind of stuff. I'm all about. Are you guys not thinking? I told you about Brampton.
Yes. So you're part of the kabaddi gang?
Of course, I'm part of the kabaddi gang.
Yo, that's sick.
I
haven't even played kabaddi. You know, Sharif would be probably good. Like you see some of those guys that play like professional.
I mean,
they're
like a rugby, but Indian style rugby.
Yeah, it's pretty wild there. Are you not going to stop me?
Don't. I'm just waiting to get stopped out here, which kind of sucks. So we'll put a bow on our trading today and get stopped out right now on the TQQs. At least we're having some fun here. At least, that's how you know I'm having a bad day, is when I can just joke like this and not even care too much about trading. But we do care about it. We're just getting...
Those are the best trades.
No, they're not. This is the worst trade.
When you're in a position and you're not really you're not too attached to it, is what I mean.
Oh, I'm attached. Yeah. This is the problem. I'm about to be disattached very, very soon to this trade. I just didn't think we were doing this here today, and now we are. So okay, Donnie Brasco.
No, that's I know which movie that is, but I have not seen
Goodfellas. Do you already? I
have not seen Goodfellas. Goodfellas? Wait, what's the title?
But why? It doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go. That trade's going to come out here, breaking through 53.55. So we'll wait for that to come through again at some point as well. We talked about maybe trading.
Casino.
Yes, you've seen that.
Mateo told me. So when I came to the floor, Mateo gave me this long list of
another Paisan. Mateo, all the
movies. He's like, these are all the gangster movies that you need to watch. I was like, yeah, sick, let's go. I've watched maybe about 3 out of that list.
Casino, in my opinion, is probably the worst one.
Really?
Out of all of the ones that we've talked about, the Godfather series, Scarface, Goodfellas, Donnie Brasco. I'm going to be missing a whole bunch because right now, well, we have I'm Reloaded right there as well from Donnie Brasco. So, all right, we're almost there. It is. So there goes the TQs, broke through 55. We'll end that one now and then try to stop fighting. It's too late to stop fighting the trend right there. I'm not going to ask him about any more movies, guys. You're more of a science fiction guy.
Yeah, very much so.
There's no.
I guess growing up,
Boiler Room's a great movie.
I think I've seen that one. Pretty sure I've seen that one.
You definitely, I think you probably.
Well, Wolf of Wall Street, of course. Margin Call, absolutely beautiful. What else is there? We talked about watching.
Should have just stayed long, man. We were long Palantir at 111.15.
On the reversion of the whole pretty much move there. A lot of people throwing up movie names.
I'm about to throw up
in the chat. We'll be right back.
IBIT back
with your movie recap
as well. Let's go over to Adair, but Bitcoin ripping too.
I mentioned earlier that tomorrow might be the biggest day for pre-market earnings this week. And here's what I mean. This is just 11 of the names reporting before the bell tomorrow. There are some other heavy hitters that aren't included on this infographic, including BP. But here's the expected move for these names. There are some big ones. SoFi, about 13.4%. Spotify, 10.5%, and UPS at about 7.5%. Here are some of the bigger ones. JBlue and PayPal both expected to have an expected move of more than 8%. So if you want to look at the expected moves and the expected times of reporting for some of these earnings names expected tomorrow, just go on X at TTV Research and you can take a look at all of these tickers. You can also take a look at our earnings and events calendar for tomorrow, April 29th. Again, X at TTV Research. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Guys, remember that alert that I put on Netflix for those all-time high breakout? It just came in, so that's the signal for Netflix fresh highs there coming through into some of those. Yeah, I should have had an eye on Netflix as well. We talked about how that could maybe be a little bit of an indicator for some of the action on the day today. This started to step up after 2 o'clock. When did this happen? So yeah, in and around here. So break out of that kind of prior high there. Flakes kind of start to step up. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Where's the next trade? Yeah, of course. I like One Piece, like the anime. Like I've been watching it for many. I think over.
I think my son's on like episode 700 and something.
Yeah, I'm like pretty much up to date. I think they took like a 6-month break. I haven't seen anything after that. But
okay.
Yeah, great. I mean, like here's the thing, man. Some of these Japanese authors, absolutely amazing storytellers.
Yeah.
Amazing story.
I like watching One Piece.
One Piece is really good, but it takes a lot to get into, right? That's the only thing.
Yeah, it's quite a commitment, over 1,300 episodes.
My parents were always like, "Why are you still watching cartoons?" I'm like,
yeah,
it's so much more. It's a story. It's at the end of the day, it's like you appreciate the storytelling, the character development, the art. Exactly. So it's
fine
like
with all of that.
You know, growing up, you ever watch Samurai Jack?
No.
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 Samurai Jack was like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball.
Dude, growing up, do you know how old I am? Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah, it was after. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. He-Man. You probably watched He-Man.
I watch He-Man.
Wildcats.
This is what I'm talking about.
Wildcats.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Skull.
Transformers. Skeletor. Yeah. Skeletor.
I used to have the little He-Man figurines, man, where they'd be riding on that tiger guy and everything. I used to have the cat. Okay, now it's starting to become a problem. I used to have the Castle of Grayskull.
Ooh.
You know, like you'd open up the castle.
Yeah. That sword. What's that?
Well, there's
what's
like
that sword
Iron Man
called?
that used to ram people with. There's a ram guy there.
Excalibur.
That's his name?
No. The name of the sword. Yeah.
Oh, the name of the sword.
Yeah.
All right, maybe we should talk about some sort of.
Power Rangers? No.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of them. I mean, what do you mean Power Rangers? You watch Power Rangers?
I used to, yeah. Growing up, I used to watch Power Rangers.
We are learning a little bit more about Obi here today, that is for sure. All right,
I used to run home from school to watch Dragon Ball Z. Right after. I think they did that on purpose, so they're like, kids don't hang around doing random things after school. Maybe, I don't know, that was the whole...
I was still doing like, we had Flintstones.
Oh yeah, I love Flintstones.
You ever watch American Gladiator?
No, I don't think.
Oh, that was good. That was not a cartoon, but that was fun show as well. I used to watch wrestling too,
Yeah.
Real fun. All right, new position alert. Short again. IBIT. So, yeah. Came right back into this level of $54. Let's just go short. So I'm going short against that top wick right there. We've passed through VWAP. If we're going to sell off the rest of the day, look, man, it's going to kill me to watch these futures come right back down if they do. But we're going to short IBIT right now into this level. It just does hit the 200 period moving average. Finally, a trade that like actually looks like something that I should be making into that 200 period moving average, into some resistance right now for IBIT. You know, also didn't hold too well earlier when we were dancing around these levels before falling back in. So for me, I don't mind this trade. I think this is a good one, giving ourselves a little bit of room to get back into 54.05. That's going to be the stop if we do break through there. So 54.06, actually I got to change that. 54.06, that sort of wick high right here. So if we can, I think that's what it was, right? Yeah, 54.03 and change. So if it ticks up higher than that, then we're going to stop out. So quick trade here, average it into the 90s. But yeah, the futures continue to blast higher. Good out there. I know it was an L, but a small one, which is great. And great talk there about Tesla, because that name just kept on blasting higher as well. About to go green on Tesla, about to go green on this market. Yeah. Looks like the S&P is green now, just turning green now. So there it goes, man. Tesla really getting juiced up here into the close. And what a great number that was. We're hoping that a lot of the Mag 7 names that come this week are very, very similar to what we've seen on Tesla, where it's been so bad that maybe the flush out has already happened in names like Google trying to hold above 160. Ooh, it actually got below that today there. But still trying to hold above that level of 160, which looks pretty key to me right there, gapping above and through. So we're trying to hold out for Google. And then Apple trying to stay northbound of $2 into their earnings call as well. So we do like that. And Meta I think that's going to be the most violent of all of them. I think Meta does have the opportunity to get going. It was up 3 or 4% on Google earnings alone, so we'll watch out for Meta. But Tesla right now pumping. Don't hear anything in my ear. It's been a very, very quiet day as far as news is concerned.
No, again, we talk. So I've gotten stopped out. Like what is that? Stopped out twice technically, and kind of took a bit of a scalp there from 280. I guess that was 281s to 280s. But yeah, we talked about this a little earlier. Don't want to fight that grinding bid. Did that last week. I see literally what I was seeing last week. So I'm like, all right, well, hands off of this one. I'm going to wait for some distinct action. Sure, can I get with the trend, get long? Sure, yeah, that's more than valid. But again, not really what I'm trying to look for right now. Going into the end of the day, again, it's about 3:27. Got about 30 minutes, give or take, for the closing bell. I'm looking for the next trade, and that might not even come in until the actual imbalances come in. But this grinding bid since about the midday was at about, I think it was about 130. Yeah, 130 right here. You can see the futures kind of start to turn, and we've been catching a bid since then, and we're almost about to go red to green on a lot of these tickers. Netflix has already gone there. We talked about that Netflix push, so that thing is probably still in and around there. Yeah, it's still pushing or attempting to push right here. Look at this Amazon. This is what I mean. I know you can't see it as well on some of these other charts, but let's kind of push it open here. We'll go to a 15-minute, and you can see some of these reversions with a little bit more of a perspective here on using a 15-minute chart. That strong Quadunk flush. Look at that opening range low break. That was pretty aggressive. I saw that happen, and I waited for that aggressive selling to kind of to slow down, to really get involved, and didn't really get involved until in and around here when we came back on, but it was pretty much sideways chop since then. But you can see, look at this reversion, a little bit of unusual selling, reverts that move by the end of the day. Interesting stuff. No idea what it means, but take a look at Apple though. Apple right here, almost a red to green here. High a day, 211.5s, currently trading at 210.60s, maybe coming into a little bit of this anchored as well. I don't know where that anchored's coming in from, probably from somewhere from highs here. It would seem, oh boy, yeah, much earlier on Apple. But yeah, 210s reclaiming. So I was talking to a couple buddies about this. I'm like, yeah, Apple 200. Let's see whether it holds. And we've been kind of chopping around here. So interesting stuff there on Apple. 285s potentially coming back in here on Tesla as well. You can see Tesla. That is not Tesla, TSLA. You can see that reclaiming that VWAP. Didn't really, so this trend break didn't really bring us anything as we consolidated in and around VWAP. You guys know I tried a little bit here, but when it just started to consolidate and hold higher, I was like, all right, well, if it's going to accept prices and kind of grind, I don't want to necessarily be involved for any kind of pushes, and oh boy, push it did all the way back into VWAP. But prior day high is something I'm watching as well. That was interesting coming into the open today as well. 287s-ish. What was that high specifically? 286.85. So you can see that once we kind of couldn't really hold this area, we broke down pretty aggressively. Now a little bit of a reversion. I'm looking at a lot of these 15-minute charts, man, and it's just a grinding bit. There's clearly a buyer on the tape across the board. No idea who's buying, but definitely buying significant enough to pick up this whole market as of right now, going into the end of Monday. SMCI, I know some people in the chat were talking about SMCI. Look at this one. What a beautiful kind of V-shaped recovery on the day. That supply kind of showing itself in the morning session. Look at those top wicks on the 15-minute, and we've come right back into that zone. So going to be interesting to see where we close here on SMCI on the day. But yeah, you can see, take a reference to SMH. I want to take a look at the chip sector here. Semiconductors, you can see right there, that selling coming in about 211s. We're trading 210s, so that grinding bid, look, boom, 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 boom. It's very consistent, almost uniform bars, right, across the board. Whether you pull up, like the cleanest ones I'm seeing on ETFs right now, but you can still see it on the individual constituents as well. You can take a look at AMD right here. These are 15-minute candles, man. Step up, step up, step up. There's clearly a grinding or a sustained bid, right? I think with the limited information that we're getting on the chart, we can see that there has been a bit of a sustained bid without any real kind of consolidation happening all along the way on the 15-minute chart. So I'm just curious to know where we close. We only have about 2 more candles left when it comes to the 15-minute chart to print going into the end of the day. And to be honest, Sean, like I'm more than satisfied with some of the decisions I've made today in terms of my trading. I came in today, I'm like, I'm going to keep it light. I'm going to keep it nothing too crazy. If something sets up, but the thing was, something did set up as an A+, and I took pieces off of it. That's something I have to kind of go back and be like, yeah, if you had a top idea and you were seeing it, put it on your main screen and really kind of maybe even post orders. We were talking about this. I know you sometimes post orders for prices that you like, and like sometimes I get a little nervous doing that, being like, okay, well, you know, what if it gets hit when I'm not really paying attention? Or
so I solved that problem with just posting less shares.
Okay,
because then when it gets hit, then you can reassess.
Right.
So if you're looking to build a 500 share position or something like that, even just put 50 shares.
Yeah.
You know, so if you get hit, you're into 10% of it.
Yes. Okay.
And then you could be like, okay, maybe let's breathe a little bit. Do I still like it?
Right.
You know, because I mean, I try to do that with some of these plays, and just so I don't miss them.
Right.
That's kind of what happened with Tesla. That came out of nowhere. Like, and we did that today on Tesla, and it's a good thing to talk about, actually. We did that on Tesla today, and I remember when it came through, I was like, oh boy, what was going on right there, right here, and then it started to go, and it was able actually to assess what was going on there with Tesla. So we didn't even have that many shares when that came through, and then it just tanked on us. So that first loss was really small because, again, we're just sitting there with like 10% or 1 unit sort of right there. Then once we got that bottom and thought, okay, maybe we had missed it, then we had gotten back in with a little bit of a bigger position because our level held basically within $1. And then we got that bottom wick to see if we could go, let's go. But instead, let's go down for Tesla there today. Okay, so SoFi earnings are tomorrow. And, you know, again, this name's been on a great run. It looks like it's in a great run right now, really expressing the long here in this afternoon. SoFi's come up from a nice little bottom there of $8, now making that move through the 50-period moving average and looking to test in and around this spot right here, 14 bucks. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening there tomorrow. I think we can get to that spot. The implied move, of course, today for some of these names. Now, we're going to talk about some of the names that you're going to have tonight. Big show, hopefully, tonight. Just NXPI and Nucor. So NXPI looking at 6%, Nucor looking at 5%, the largest steel producer in the United States, Nucor, N-U-E. There it is right here. Let's have a quick look at what Nucor is doing. You could trade some U.S. steel, but they have that Nippon deal there, and I'm not even sure what's going on with it. U.S. steel has been hit a lot. We'll have to see what happens with their earnings call tonight and see where they see the market for steel going. We have Rahim Alani coming through this week again. So we could, you know, obviously the report will be here, but we'll figure out what's going on with steel tonight. As most of the indexes today will be pretty flat, you know, like USO today. We can see what's going on with oil. I don't know if gold has bounced back a little bit, but USO is down today, and GLD was down 1.5% earlier as well. So, sorry, up. Went the other way there, up there, because we talked about Michael this morning looking short. So we'll find out today if that still holds or if he's gotten into those positions. So oil slightly down today, although I was looking at XLE is going to be different than USO. So that's what I was looking at earlier. XLE up 0.62 as some of the stocks are upside, while oil itself, USO, down today. Bitcoin trying to rally back to 95. I actually just going to take one more fill. It's not really moving around right now. So we were talking about it coming up to the 200 period right there. So worth shorting. But then I thought to myself, Bitcoin's a completely different animal. Some of the stuff that we've done and some of the work that we've done here on the show is with equities, not necessarily with crypto. But we'll see if it can still hold. Rough move making that way up on the TQ. So we'll take an L here this afternoon with our biggest trade on the futures. And it's good that we got out to where we did as well, as they're continuously going higher right now.
Yeah, and speaking of working on ideas for equities, eSignal might be the place to look there. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience. Analyze, strategize, capitalize, and foresee profitable opportunities with the platform that you need. Infinite data, instant trading, know where the market is moving before others with lightning fast data. Charts that change the game. Customize, analyze markets faster, your way. Better backtesting and scanning. Predict the future by understanding the past. Reliable, real-time data and up-to-the-second market information from hundreds of global markets. eSignal will give you everything that you need all in one place. So don't miss a beat and execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description there for eSignal. All right, so with only about 23 or so minutes here, Sean, left during the day, we got about a few more minutes until these imbalances come in. There's some selling coming into the market right now as well. So maybe the question I'm asking is this the short now on the break of this bit of a trend right now? But again, I'm going to stay patient. Things might get a little volatile going into the end. You can see that things are getting a little shaken bakey. I don't know if that's a word, but you know, volatility, the aggression of the tape is starting to go a little bit higher, the speed as well. So I'm going to stay a little bit patient as we catch this bid into the closing session there. Like I said, only about 22 minutes. So I have no idea. I'm still waiting for the next trade. And yeah, exactly. I think, again, Sean, you got to remember, the next day, tomorrow, like there's so many opportunities in this market. And a lot of people talk about, oh, why aren't you in a position? Why aren't you trading? Well, is there a trade? at the end of the day, you have to remember, as best as possible, you got to try to be as professional as possible when it comes to being a trader. You can't be, sure, there are opportunities and trades all over the place relative to different playbooks. But again, I can't trade everything, right? I don't have a playbook for everything. I have a playbook that I am working on, and so does Sean. Sean has a seasoned playbook that he's been kind of, working with, and trades that he's been taking. And they don't show up all the time. Right, they show up when they show up. Right. So,
yeah, no, that's look.
I definitely have to increase my repertoire.
I think that we all talk the same thing all the time, and it's just like, trade the names and trade the plays that you think are setting up. And honestly, for me, and we talk about this all the time, and thank you for asking me here in the chat. And these are the questions that honestly, like, this is what matters. Like right here, Butter Biscuit Head. What up, Butter Biscuit? Where's my guy right here? Are you red or green today? Red. I said, I mean, and I said quite a bit red, actually, and the thing is like, when you're trading more shares and you're making plays and they don't work out for you, there are going to be days where you're just going to be red, and, you just hope that, and it does kind of suck on a Monday, but I don't really look at it like, obviously I'd rather start the week off positive. I'd rather end the week positive as well, and I'd rather have a positive middle of the week. So I don't really care about the day that it is. It's just you're trying to take ideas and plays, and hopefully if they work out, then you do have the shares on board. And when they don't, you get stopped out and it stays within the pocket, right? And I think that that's something that's, really big to understand. Finally, right here, I'm going to try to go short. I know we only have 10 minutes until those imbalances, but I think this could just be a 10-minute trade where we haven't broke the top. So now it's consolidating here. If the futures say, wait a second, maybe we're not thinking about going green the rest of the day, then maybe we do pull back into VWAP. So we're going to take a little shot here. And I think at this point, it's probably worth it, just where we are. So I'm going to give it until that break. So 53.85. If we break that, then we can get out. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I think this is worth it. My logic is just into the close here. I know we're fighting this trend all afternoon, going upside right here, but let's just see, does this market actually want to go ahead of big earnings tomorrow morning? We sort of showed you all those stocks. Will the market, watch those names tomorrow morning and go up or down? We don't know where this report's going, but here we go. Just as I talk like that, there go the TQs back up to the upside. So we'll lose a little bit more here, it looks like, into the end of the day trying to short this. But this is just a play to see if we can retrace back down here. I think the odds are much in our favor when we're looking at a percentage points here of where we're getting stopped out versus where we could potentially go. So let's see if we can get lucky and fade out a little bit into the close. It's not looking like it right now. I looked at this, but again, very hard to get a good read. AT&T buy, TD a buy, DMN, I don't even know. We've looked at like a penny stock or something. Pfizer a sell, HPE a buy. So maybe there is some more tech buys coming here into the close. Bank is actually a buy as well. But we've seen this not really mean too much, at least until 350. So some buys and sells kind of mixed around here into the imbalances. So yeah, we never want to get that feeling like we're gambling. So we're not going to put on too many shares. We did get out of IBIT for flat. Basically, we're short at what, 80, what was I short at, 86? We got 91s there. It was not a huge trade. Just thought that, hey, no point. It's not really moving around. We don't need to sit in crypto. Just in case it does break 95, there's your warning that the imbalances are coming out soon. So, yeah, TQs. We know the stop is 7 cents from here. So let's see what winds up happening now as we get into the end of the day. So last week, there it is. What's up, Tia? Or David. Last week was so red. Hopefully not. Maybe I guess it was for you because last week was a great week in the market. You needed aloe vera. Yeah, we were at the, like I said, I think it's either, it must be in my jacket or I left it in my car, lip chap or lip balm because I feel like, we were
aloe vera for the burns.
A lot. Yeah, exactly. I had the wind burn today as well. So. Do you get burned often, or?
Depends. If I'm like out in the sun.
Depends if you're out in the sun. Yeah, we know that one. I'll be
for the longest time. Then yeah, for sure. But no.
You ever get sunburned? Depend if I'm out in the sun. Yeah, that is that is a key dependent on.
No, I've been sunburned before.
Oh, you ever gone tanning, like to a tanning salon?
No,
No, me neither.
Bro,
how about a masseuse?
naturally tend. What do you mean?
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like sometimes before you go on vacation, some people will grab a tan, or before summer they'll grab it so they can get a darker base.
No, I wouldn't do that.
But I guess that's true. That's more of a white guy problem, isn't it? Probably than anything else. So, all right, let's just keep on going. You're not going to be in anything here into the close. Which one name tomorrow morning then, Obi? If we are going to look at this chart again here, this is who's reporting tomorrow morning. Give me one. Thanks, Adara, for all this again. So we have UPS, Royal Caribbean, Pfizer, JetBlue, Altria, Spotify. I think that's going to be quite a nice play there. Similar to Netflix, right, where you have a lot of earnings coming tomorrow morning. People canceling their Spotify. General Motors, I think, should be interesting. But we kind of know maybe where that story is going. Coca-Cola, SoFi, PayPal.
So out of all those, well, it really depends on how the morning session comes in. But I think UPS definitely on watch. They just had news with the robots, so we're going to be watching those. And in terms of some of the other ones, I like GM. If GM can give us a decent move, that's liquid enough to really push into some shares if the trade sets up there.
6 a.m.
But yeah,
Spotify 6:30 GM.
SoFi as well.
PayPal 7. It's funny, 7 a.m. Like, I'm surprised that SoFi and PayPal would be pre-market. Like some of the older names, even Spotify. Yeah, I know they're always, but I'm just thinking like a lot of the names that you see in the pre-market are old Dow Jones names, like just older names that have been around for a minute, right? It's tough. It's funny to see a SoFi there when that's just IPO 10 years ago, or maybe less than that, I guess. SoFi and then Spotify, similar direct listed as well in the AM, right? Like Visa. After hours, so again, that's an old name. So First Solar, Starbucks, and then Snapchat. For me tomorrow night, Starbucks going to be an interesting name to look at there tomorrow night. All right, so that's what that is. Voting? Are you voting?
Yeah, I said I went on.
You did already? Yeah, okay, yeah, I got to do that after. So that's on my mind. Trying to think about things I got to do here after we get home. So yeah, voting. And it's cool too because we live right beside a school. So it's not going to take too long to get over there. But I do wish that I was a little smarter and do nothing on the weekends. You can just walk up and vote pretty much at any of these polling stations. Did not do that. So boo on me. Yeah, we are getting out of the TQs, man. It's ripping right in here into the close. We just thought we would take this. Look, this is going to be a 15-cent hit to the upside, which does suck, but we were not really rolling too hard into this one. But there it goes, upside on the TQs. Looks like it wants to break right now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of just watching this Tesla for now. Just in just a breadcrumb of a short here. Just going into the close, looking for that 284 to potentially crack. But like again, we're still within this trend that we've been having. So again, as those imbalances get closer, probably going to get out of this one. You can see that Amazon's bidding up as well. You can see the futures bidding up as well. So yeah, this bid coming in pretty strong into the close, the grinding bid again. Like I said, not really trying to fight it aggressively. But again, I'm in for a feeler. And maybe getting ready for tomorrow as well. If we're going to see more of this action, man, I got to figure out a good way to kind of capitalize on this grinding craziness here. Look at that. Wow, look at that. Just back right through those highs there on Tesla. 285 is a bit of an interesting level. Remember I talked about that 19.5 on the NASDAQ? Guess what, Sean? We made it all the way back to 19.5. We were talking about that 19.5 down here when we were still trading 19.3s before the 400 even came in. But yeah, what a crazy market here. Nice little push into the close for V-shaped recovery for some, not for all. But yeah, interesting day nonetheless. Let me know in the chat. We don't have much time. We have about 13 minutes left. BBI was nice as well. What were your top ideas? And also, what were your top trades of the day? I'm curious to know what how those short here. So
yeah, interested to hear what people are doing. Yeah, let us know if you guys are green or red on the day today. Let us know. So you can share that with us. Big Bear AI, now, again, just trying to, we've been talking about a lot of different names here, including Bitcoins and whatnot, but IBIT, back onto VWAP. So we'll see. It's nice to see that this is at least positive day. Sometimes when you're up that 7 or 8% and you go red on the day, hard to get back to green. So it's nice to see Big Bear today do that. So we'll check out Big Bear AI tomorrow, see if we can get some more follow through on that play. WW, formerly of Weight Watchers fame, didn't do too much here this afternoon. Had a nice go early. And I still think that 50-cent spot So that's going to be a good one to look at the next time it breaks there. That would be something that, again, set your sort of orders or your triggers to at least be identified in and around 48, 49 cents. Then when it gets going through there, you're going to be on the level 2 and be able to catch that breaking through that 50 level. You know, we did see names like Tilray and CGC in that go for a little bit of a run there last week. I don't know if we're having much action on them today, down 50%, then $1. 1.5%. And then CGC today as well. This was more the runner last week than Tilray. So that's why they're down. Wow, 7%. Like, wow, these stocks do eventually just get lit up. I mean, there it is, 80 cents up to 182, back down to 130 right there for CGC. So yeah, today, man, burning the ground is CGC. We are getting a little bit of a pullback. FFIV is after hours as well. This has been a huge stock. So we can check out FFIV right there on the networking side to see if that can hold out as well. Right at the 50-period moving average. So that's another name. And then someone said, is Starbucks still near $100? No. That was the reason why it's interesting to me. You're all the way down into the 80s again, where we've seen a great little base here. So Starbucks tomorrow night, going to be a real interesting call. These wick downs really been bought up, right, into the low, I guess, high to one is mid 70s, 76, but $77, $78 mark for Starbucks, 10% down. I like that stock anyways. SBUX into earnings. I think that could be a good one. They had that huge bump up on Brian Nickel, right here, boom. And then since then we had made new highs and then whoops to the downside where we had commented that it looked a little frothy up there, well off of the 200 and the 50 period MA, and the imbalances are out and they're higher and the market continues to go upside. So stopped out of my trade. We can check out where the imbalances are right now, Obi, as you work on your trade. Let me just go here, right click there, get rid of NASDAQ as a source and have a see what is bumping right now. Wow, there goes Nvidia. 5 million shares to buy. So that will set, look at the TQs, man. That will set those absolutely flying right there. Google with a buy. Okay, Apple with a buy. Tesla, there goes Tesla, Obi, with a buy up to 286. I know you're on that. So Intel with a buy. They're all bids right now. So higher, higher, higher. Daryl lets us know it's $2 billion roughly to buy, with 1.5 of that on the NASDAQ. Mag 7 alone, 1 billion of that. So Mag 7 right now, half of the imbalance to the upside right now, led by Nvidia as that goes bump in the night as well. These shorts, man, we sort of should have known that something was creeping there late, and it does look like it's Nvidia and the rest of them starting to bump up there. Nvidia I don't think it's going to go green today, but wow, 6 million shares really sends that name higher, 108 up to 108.80, and that's why you want to make sure that you're looking at these imbalances, right? 355, there's a pairing off situation where we could see a downside play for Nvidia at 355.
Yeah, just
I don't know what your plan is for Tesla there.
No, like I said, I was kind of watching it there. That did blast a little aggressively, so I am staying a little longer than my welcome here. But like I said, just a breadcrumb going into the close. Going to watch this. Pairing event at, 55, so about 3 more minutes left for that one there. So yeah, Tesla was trading in and around 284s. That imbalance comes out. Well, the market bid up pretty aggressively as well. Like you mentioned, that Nvidia bid there as well. And yeah, Tesla ripped up 2 points there, 286s, and still trading near those. So that grinding bid definitely there. Sometimes I like to stay in a bit of a position for a bit of a feeler. I don't know if that's something that you do. Sure. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, I was just maybe a little degen for sure. I'll admit, slightly, just a bit, but it is the end of the day. And wow, look at that, Amazon coming in with another bid as well. Yeah, so that 19.5, really aggressive action here, really sustaining some of these prices here on Tesla as well as that 287 comes in. Oh boy. All right, so soon enough, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm spending too much. Spending too much P&L trying to feel this out here going into the close. But yeah, don't really have anything else on right now. Just going to wait for some of these imbalances to get paired off to see what comes in. But yeah, look at that. Nvidia continuing 5 million to buy. That is absolutely crazy there. That's a nice little shoot up into the close as well. TQ's coming in real hot to their highs.
Yeah, wow, 54.25, like, that's hilarious, because that was initially what we had written down here, 54.25 on the TQs. We round tripped that price. Crazy. Shout out right here. Big day tomorrow, Mr. Sean. Thank you, Tia. Yeah, we'll be fine, man. Hey, what's up, Antonio? Thank you so much, Antonio. I love you so much as well. Thank you, Antonio, for all the love there today. And Obi distracts Sean. Yes, he does. Bad job, Obi, today, distracting me as we go. But it's been. Look. Today will be red. I mean, I don't have a problem. I mean, telling you guys about that. And that's what happens sometimes. You're going to take those trades and they don't work out for you. So I'm completely fine. At the end of the day, you look at the month and you're just trying to have a green month. You're trying to make sure that, you do protect some of those profits. So you guys have known that we've had some good runs. So we'll just, we'll keep it at that and see. With only 1 minute left, I'm actually looking to sort of punch long, believe it or not, on Nvidia. I think if that can hold the 4 million on this imbalance at the end of the day, sell Google, buy Big Bear AI. Yeah, I think so, Yaniv. Why not? But here we go. Today was brutal, but still ended up green. Oh, with my picks. There we go. Thank you, Love to Trade. Nice. Don't know how that was possible, but okay, that's good. All right. All right, so here we go. And it's all about price and size. You and I talk about that. Yeah. Like, if your trade right now was big size, I would have
gotten blasted. Yeah.
Right, but you probably wouldn't be in it, is what I'm saying.
No, for sure I would not.
So you would have certain outs, certain situations. You don't hold something $2 against you on 1,000 shares or anything like that. So you got to make sure that you're trading the right size and the right opportunities at the right time. So today, I actually thought that TQ short was decent. So we did have, like I told you, at 7 or 8 units, which is too much, and it wound up blasting us. We'll see if we can do good tomorrow on that as well. So there's Nvidia. Still a buy, but not enough for me to do anything. If we come over to the screen, Ramin, just real quick, I'll just show that. So it goes from 6 or 7 million down to 1.5 million. So you're not getting that crazy action right here off the close for Nvidia. If anything, I would now be thinking of a quick short against that high as we start to pair this off for Nvidia. So with 4 minutes left, downside play here, potential for a name like Nvidia, and maybe the market finally now coming back in as some of these imbalances start to pair off. But what a good day for the NASDAQ, made it all the way back, and what a good day for the ES here as you are now upside. I didn't think it would happen today, but those of you that asked, like, why today was a little bit of a mixed day and why I was thinking mixed, it's kind of because of this. You're now going to be flat. You're actually where we opened right now in the market. So if you look over here, today's 1 minute, this is where the market opened. This is where the market's closing. So all we did was go down and straight back up, almost a complete V recovery there in the market. And of course, now the short starts to come in. All right, let's go over to Adara, and then we'll come back and wind this show up.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Trade the Pool. We all know the saying, big opportunity comes with big risk, but what if that wasn't true anymore? Trade the Pool is redefining what risk means for traders. No more risking your life savings to prove yourself in the market. They give you access to company capital, up to $200,000 to trade real stocks, no CFDs. And your downside is limited to a single one-time fee that starts at just $47. That means no blowing up your personal account. You get to trade with serious buying power, all while knowing your loss is capped. Trade the Pool now offers an unlimited time during the evaluation. You get the freedom to trade your way with no time pressure. Visit tradethepool.com and see how far your $47 can take you. Back to you.
All right, yeah. Obi and I on prop floor, so trading prop has its advantages. Obviously, risk management, very, very well talked about on prop firms, as well as the ability to use and bat, way above your weight there, or whatever they say on that one, where fight above your weight class, because you can use, company and firm capital to get in and out of these trades. But yeah, very, very whipsaw-y kind of day if you look at it as a day, but the trend here in the afternoon was buy side. And we'll see if that can continue there tomorrow. JP Morgan just back to zeros as well. And we had said there, looking at that Nvidia trade, that there might be something there, but you're right back to day's high again. Nvidia, which was down 3.5% or maybe even 4% at one point, now just down 2% and hovering right there into those imbalances. Pfizer's been clubbed, man. What is that price? $23. That's a bad one as well. BAC today, I think it's a very different kind of a day because depending on what you're holding in your account, some names relatively flat. and I think you could be doing okay. There was SMCI with a little bit of a bid there to end the day. Look at SMCI. There's another example. Nvidia down 2%, SMCI up 2.5%. So definitely this day being controlled by few names, and they're not really the big boys. Tesla up and down, as I like that short, but that still goes upside. Robinhood still down that $1 as well, 1% as well. And then there's Tesla up to 286 and pushing, again, some of those levels. Like, this is virtually where we opened, again, on Tesla. So what a wild day, man. Hopefully other days will be a little more calming. And I thought the short was good, and we wound up losing on it. My biggest loser of the day is right into here, where we shorted the TQQs, right into this level. Did not think we would break it. Did not, and we did. So fail on that one, so we'll turn our happiness into a frown today. About to turn happier, because in 1 minute, it's the recap show. I get to go home, chillax a little bit, and enjoy the night. I got to swing by High Park,
nice,
take care of a little bit of business there, and then relatively light night, I think, on the docket for the Katina household. You have any plans tonight, or?
No, I think I'm gonna review some of these trades today. Got out of that Tesla. I'm like, all right, well, this is all I really
what am I
need to
talking
see.
about?
Aggressive strength into the close.
Baseball practice.
Oh.
So I got baseball practice, and then daughter has a 4-on-4 hockey.
Okay.
Baseball at 6, hockey at 6:15.
So what time do you get home?
I basically don't. Yeah, cool times. All right, here we go. With only 50, yeah, I don't. I mean, I won't be home tonight really until probably 9 o'clock. So, all right, less than 10 seconds.
Oh boy.
So yeah, it's an oh boy situation. Here we go with only 4 seconds now. This is brought to you by VinFast. 3, 2, and 1. All right, thank you, Adair. Yeah. So no rest for the wicked. I'll go home from here, stop by High Park, pick up. That's where I was going. Got to pick up some stuff for the practice. Then we have practice till 8.
Yep.
And then we'll have dinner sometime around 8:39. Spend some time with the wife, then bedtime, then right back here tomorrow.
Yeah, solid. Sounds
Solid.
like
It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. I love
yeah,
coaching and being with kids and just doing all that. We've got a lot of friends in there as well. So yeah, lots of fun there today. So. All right, Obi, thank you so much for the day today. About to get some earnings, so let's go back over. I assume they're ready over there? All right, Obi, thank you so much. Good luck with some of those trades tomorrow.
Yes,
we'll talk about which names we like tomorrow morning. Neil will be back, so thank you, Obi. Thanks to everybody today. Sharif, Adara, Joe for the midday show. You're about to see Sharif and Adara in a second. Ramin, thank you so much. Fabian, thank you. Bears vs. Bulls, Brendan, and everybody that's had a hand in running this show today, especially our viewers. We can't do it without you. Tomorrow we'll be back bigger and better. So thank you for watching. Let's sort over to the recap show. Ciao. Yeah.
Welcome to the market recap show, guys. What a day it was on these markets today. We started in the negative. We stayed negative the majority of the day. Then around 1 o'clock, we started trending right back up with some of these major averages making big recoveries off their lows. The NQ did actually close negative, albeit by not that much, about 0.7%. The ES down right now, but that's after the close finished green. Likewise with the Dow closing up 0.25%, with the Russell 2000 faring the best out of all 4 major averages, up 0.33%. Good look there. Bitcoin not at 95.5 like it was in the morning when we spoke last, but still up 0.33% here. Oil continues to sell off in the low 60s. Is better than the high 50s, or is it? Down 1.6%. With gold, yet another green day for gold. We had a bit of a sell-off last week, not today though. Right back above $3,350, up almost 2%, 1.9%. And Nat Gas up 5.6. We talked about that on the midday show. BOIL, B-O-I-L, was up over 10%, the levered ETF. So not a bad day on these markets today, Adara.
Yeah, not a bad day at all here. And I believe tomorrow we'll get 100 days of Trump in office. The market has done, to put it lightly, a lot since he began. I'm actually working on an infographic right now showing the weekly moves of a lot of these indices since he took over. I mean, here's UPS. They're reporting tomorrow. And I've noticed a little bit of a trend here, Sharif. So Spotify, Friday, we had this report that they're jacking up their prices in some non-American countries, right, for their subscriptions.
Sure.
Then today they announced, we paid podcasters $100 million in Q1. UPS also gets a story the day before their earnings. They're reportedly looking here to, I believe, acquire or invest in this Figure AI for humanoid robotics. So it's interesting. Both these names reporting tomorrow, and they both get a story before earnings. I've talked to you a lot about how I find sometimes these releases before earnings of stories can lead to kind of iffy numbers because they're trying to hype you up before the report. Right? So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but this pattern is interesting to me. We get 2 companies reporting tomorrow with stories coming out less than, honestly, 24 hours before the bell. So good times there. Also, there is a seagull screeching contest for seagull imitators that I just saw there on CNN. And I am, that's what I was pointing out to you there on the green screen. So not at all market related, but as we wait for earnings, pretty funny. I think Cadence Design should be out.
Yeah, here it is, CDNS, guys. This is the first one we're waiting for. That's at 4 p.m. Let's flip to the 1 minute on this one. CDNS, it's already down here. Here's what we're getting. Okay, so this is the report for CDNS. Q1 adjusted EPS, $1.57, beating that $1.49 that the street was looking for. With respect to revenue or sales, $1.24 billion. That comes in line with what the street was expecting for. It's a little zig and a little zagadera dropping down, as it typically does with these algo reactions, down to 282, working its way back up into 257. Still negative on the day, 0.57. We're talking about CDNS reporting here at 4 o'clock. The other one we're expecting, Adara, with this one's a little bit later, NXPI and U. NXPI expected at 410. It closed up 1.43 on the day. Likewise with NUE, Nucor Corp, closed up 1.5%. Both of these we're expecting at 410.
Yes, we're going to have to wait there for those. I also said to Sharif, Waste Management, which is one that I know can be intraday traded. I remember Obi traded it a while ago on earnings. They weirdly do not report till about 7 p.m., 7:10 p.m., and they don't actually do their call until tomorrow morning. I'll switch off the UPS chart because I don't know why I keep showing that. We're going to have to beep, beep, get that truck out of the way so we can look at the queues, which actually did have a little bit of a drop here around this, I guess, when the imbalances, right after the imbalances came out. So interesting look there. Also, Sharif, do you know who the former CEO of Cadence Design was?
I have no idea.
Really? From 2009 to 2021, he was actually known for being the CEO of Cadence Design. So interesting little note there. We also have Beyond Inc. I'm just seeing those earnings, not Beyond Meat, but BYON. I'm also seeing here apparently the S&P 500 had its 5th straight green session in a row. But Sharif, I think we should also look ahead to tomorrow. We have a lot of earnings tomorrow, but I also saw some headlines. We're going to have some media appearances from 2 members of Trump's cabinet, specifically on the trading side of things. We're expected to have Scott Bessent tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Then Howard Lutnick's going to swing by CNBC at 2 p.m. So you want to talk about what you were telling me this morning?
Yeah, so on the All In podcast, I was telling you this morning that there's statistics, not a whole large data set at the moment, but when Bessent has the mic on the day, the market seems to go green. When Howard Lutnick or Peter Navarro are on the mic that day, it's more of a put. So call Bessent, put Lutnick, so to speak. Let's talk about. Do we have the infographic for the earnings tomorrow? Since
yes, always.
Yeah, so because you kind of prefaced it. Well, tomorrow, what do we got for earnings?
We have implied moves for tomorrow morning, and then we also have the entire earnings calendar. So we'll start with the implied moves. SoFi, huge expected implied moves. This is just pre-market. I haven't done the post-market one yet because the implied moves do tend to change. But I'll show you There's
a lot of heavyweights on there.
It's a ton of heavyweights, and the ones actually tomorrow night are a little bit lackluster in comparison. Here's what we've got tomorrow. I mean, Booking Holdings, for those who are not me, is probably not a day trading stock, and even then, for me, it's a bit much. But Visa, Starbucks, First Solar, and Snap, some decent names tomorrow night, but nothing super huge. I would actually argue for once the morning is probably bigger than the evening. Cadence Design also coming through with guidance here. So they're seeing adjusted earnings per share for Q2 between $1.55 to $1.61. Midpoint of that basically in line with estimates of $1.58. And then their Q2 GAAP earnings per share, that was just their adjusted. Their GAAP, 89 cents to 95 cents. That's almost entirely missing estimates of 95 cents. But they did raise their guidance here for fiscal 2025 sales.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Good raise from them there. It's still basically zigging and zagging. We did pop up into about 293 and a third. We're right back down into 285. Quite a spready name. It's not really trading in the way you'd expect something that's liquid to trade. So keep your eye on this one. More of an investing stock anyway, so we'll keep that on watch. This is what we're talking about there when Adara says that they raise guidance. Let's bring that up so you can have a better look there. So Cadence Design Systems raises full year 2025 adjusted EPS guidance from about 6 2/3 to 6 3/4, up to 6 3/4 to 6 4/5. Not a bad look there. The estimate was 6.71, so even the low end of their guide above the estimate, so not a bad look. They're also raising their full year 2025 sales guidance up from 5.14 billion to 5.22, up to 5.15 billion to 5.23, with the estimate being kind of the midpoint of the guide there. 5.19 is what the street was looking for, or is expecting, I should say. So Cadence Design System, the first one to report at 4 o'clock. We've got a couple of other ones, guys. NXPI, the semiconductor name, NXP Semiconductor, which is a Holland or a Netherlands-based company, excuse me, much like ASML. And then we got Nucor Corp, which basically deals with steel and steel products, American and Canadian companies. So not a bad look. If you're just joining us, the NQ did close marginally red. The ES did close green. Likewise with the Dow and the Russell, that are both positive on the day, with the Russell being the strongest of the bunch. Let's talk about what to expect here from NXPI, which again reports in about 2 minutes. Earnings per share, the street's looking for about $2.60 on revenue, excuse me. Let me just load that down so you guys can see it there. On revenue of 2.83 billion, the implied move here about 7%, a little bit less. The previous move was a little bit less than 2% to the downside. With respect to Nucor, we're looking for 68 pennies per share in terms of earnings. Revenue of a little bit less than 7.25 billion. The implied move here about 5.5 plus or minus. We'll have to wait and see whether this one beats or misses. With the previous move, again, minus 1.2%. So it looks like they both sold off last time a dare.
Yeah, this NXPI, Sharif, this had an excellent day. I mean, we kind of started to bottom out. It looks like we're going to flat bottom break here. But then we start to make a slightly higher low here. Coming in, when was this? This was around 1:30, so near the end of the midday. And we shoot to the upside. I checked the volume on this. It was over 3 million shares, so that is not bad at all. NXPI actually had a great look moving into earnings. Let's take a look at NUE, or Nucor. This one, kind of similar pattern to NXPI, but I would argue that the move back up is a lot more kind of squeamish. It's not as strong as what we had with NXPI. So given that strength for NXPI into earnings, I wonder if it sells it all off or if it continues to push higher. We will let you know once we see those earnings. So they are coming out imminently. We also had ARE, that's Alexander Real Estate's coming out. So some real estate names, I believe WELL or Welltower, they were supposed to report as well. So there are some real estate related plays in watch. But we're going to have to wait and find out here what happens with NXPI and Nucor here. Yeah, like I said, not a ton of earnings tonight, though tomorrow morning we'll actually get very, very spicy. So check out that watch list. We have NXPI, Sharif.
Okay,
to scan
let's have a look here.
This report quickly because they do not. Oh, someone is retiring here. Oh, chair of the board of directors. Okay, I have Ultra Clean Holdings. Do you mind if you just take over a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just watching the price action here on NXPI. Not really reacting quite yet. Still up 1.6, waiting for this area. Here we go. So now we're getting it. So Q1 revenue. Oh, what's going on over here? Q1 revenue of 2.84 billion. I don't know what the comps are. Just give me a second because I did have the comps 1 second ago. So 2.84 billion was what we got. That it beats what the street was looking for, 2.83, so a bit of a beat there. But it is selling off aggressively here. So you're seeing it drop from about 196 down to 194, still very illiquid at this moment. So let's not react too quickly. Over here, just looking for more data. So now they have guidance out as well. So they see Q2 revenue between 2.8 to $3 billion. I'm not sure what we are looking for in terms of an estimate for the second quarter. Now, or as well, they're guiding with respect to earnings per share set to be between 178 to 216, which would be better than, well, actually a little bit worse than what they printed on this quarter. The estimate was $2.60. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Here we go. Looking for the full review over here. I don't know if you've got it on your side there. Go ahead.
I have the total review, but I'm just reading through the report. So they literally say in the report they actually miss, or they didn't miss, but they're down 9% year over year in their revenue, which is not a great look. I'm seeing, let's say the same estimates that I saw, because sometimes the estimates I see are different from the estimates the street goes with. But yeah, it does look like exactly that 2.84 billion, beating estimates of 2.83 from what I'm seeing. But the revenue was down quarter over quarter, so down on a sequential basis. GAAP gross profit down on a sequential basis. A lot of these metrics dropping here on a sequential basis, though their GAAP operating income actually, that was a loss, so it actually did increase a little bit there. Not a great look. it's hard to find a positive metric in this report.
And it looks like their CEO will be outgoing, an individual by the name of Kurt Sievers, or I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. He's the NXP president and chief executive officer. The company announced that he has informed the board of directors of his intention to retire from NXP at the end of this year. So it's not going to be anything imminent. We'll keep an eye on that. The company goes on to say he's been a dynamic visionary and a highly effective CEO of NXP at the helm since May of 2020. Julie Southern, who is the chair and board of directors of the company. So we'll keep an eye on that. The market not liking very much what they're reporting or what they're saying here, Adara, because we were up into 198.15. We are now down into about 189.98, losing that 190 level and also breaking through that low of day at 191 that we had held almost a triple bottom there on NXPI, now down about 2 1/5 here in the aftermarket. We are still waiting. Let me just check here on NUE. Did we get NUE? Not yet. So nothing on my blotter from NUE, nor has the price reacted on the chart as such. So we'll wait for that. That was scheduled to come out 4:10, so that's about 3 minutes late. So both the earnings names that we've had on the day already report CDNS down 3% or thereabouts. Likewise with NXPI dropping as well after that earnings report, now down 3 1/4 there. It's taking out levels here, man. 187, it's about to lose 187. So a bit of a tougher look there. They did beat on the current quarter. The guide was ahead of expectations, but maybe selling off here. I'm talking about NXPI on the news that their current CEO will be outgoing at the end of the year. I think we do have Michael Noss whenever he's ready to go. Okay, let's bring in Michael. I don't know, what am I supposed to press? Okay. There he is, everybody's favorite, he's mine, favorite chartered market technician from the east coast of Canada. Good afternoon, Michael. How are you? How was the trading day today?
Trading day was good. It was a lot of volatility for no action. We opened we closed right where we opened.
Agreed.
Looked down 1% at some point, ends up flat, and it's just like, yeah, at this point, what do? You just wait for the close, I think.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we just got that continued direction, but volatility presents intraday traders, at least, Michael, with opportunities. So today I saw you posted a video on your trade of the week, LKQ. So not a bad look there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? I can load up the chart.
Yeah, so this is from a mean reversion system that I have, and a lot of these systems have been doing very well, right? Where we have mean reversion and pullback and anything that's kind of exploiting the volatility by hoping the market sells off a bit for a couple days, and then you can buy something, and then you're flipping it out a couple days later. That's been doing well. Trend following, not so much. So this was kind of the one that I landed on, and the orange dotted line down here around 35.50, that's where we're looking to get in if we can get there. One of the benefits for a lot of what I do is that there would be, maybe 30 or 40 potential trades to take each week, but obviously I don't know if LKQ is going to get down here. So I kind of wait for just those triggers and those alerts. Right. But if you go back in time, you can see how important this area. This is 2016. It was important there. Again in 2020, 2025, 2024. This whole area is really, really important. So if it can shrug off the bad earnings report that it had on this big red day here, just bleed a little bit lower, that might be a good place to snap it up. But again, just trying to play the overextended moves to both sides, buying dips, selling rips, staying active until the market calms down and there could be kind of some trend to play with.
I want to ask you about the overall market in general. It's a question that I prefaced to you last week about that ascending wedge with that flat top. But before I do that, I got to ask you about the most important crypto coin that's going around in these markets right now, Michael, and I think you already know what I'm alluding to here. Fart coin is continuing to make those higher highs and higher lows. No, but I'm serious about this. This has got a gnarly looking rounded bottom. It's taken out levels. It's off the lows. You've got higher lows here, certainly off that 20 penny area. We defended it to a T last time, and now we're $1 higher at $1.20. Are we joking here, or is there something to this fart coin trade?
Well, so full disclosure, because I'll always say this regardless of the instrument, the asset, I am a fart coin holder. So I don't know if there's like a buzzword for me or something, but I bought some, around this kind of 50 cent area when we broke out of here. I think I was talking about it with you guys and everything on the show. It's a great looking chart. There obviously is no fundamental analysis to do here, but the reason that this always is now part of my scanning and is always on my screen is because the way I look at it is that if the world out there was looking to, there was going to be a recession, there was going to be some sort of really big economic problem, and people were worried about losing their jobs and not being able to pay rent, I think it's worth about like $1.2 billion is the market cap right now. You think this would be one of the first places they would tap, right? They're not going to, you would hope that people are logical enough that they're going to sell this before they sell their Apple, before they sell their Nvidia or their Google or their SPY or whatever it is. And yeah, the fact that this keeps just grinding higher, and even over the weekend, I made a little bit of a comment because it pulled back a little bit so far today, but trying to avoid all the jokes, but this was ripping like all weekend. And, you're talking a low of 95 cents to a high of what, 125? Like, that is an insane percentage return. But, trade it, don't trade it, whatever. I'm just surprised that I could trade this in a regular Kraken account. But for no other reason, I'm going to have this on my chart until it moons or completely goes away, just for that risk on, risk off type of thing. I have to imagine that, again, if people start to get worried and they start to sell things, you're going to see this one implode. But, we're talking about, there's tons of these different coins out there. For some reason, Fartcoin seems to be holding. So you're talking about relative strength. Like, we got Peanut the Squirrel. I don't know if you remember that meme, but it had a spike and then it fell. And then you got Pepe the Frog and that had a spike and then kind of completely fell apart. So a lot of these coins are at lows or near lows. So if you're a crypto trader, I think you just pick up the ones that are holding on. Even probably best just to ignore the tickers entirely and just look for the ones that are strongest.
Let's keep the conversation going with the crypto theme. I was reading an interesting article today about the decoupling or seeming decoupling of the with Bitcoin, with tech stocks, with the overall NASDAQ. So I was looking at this 30-day correlation with gold, Michael. So Bitcoin is set to be about 0.7%, 0.7, indicating a strong positive alignment with gold. But when you compare that to its alignment with the tech stocks and the NASDAQ in general, it's only 0.53. So is this kind of suggesting that maybe we're getting a permanent decoupling here where Bitcoin will move on its own merit as opposed to being this kind of risk-on asset that moves with tech stocks?
I hope so. I'm finding the same number here. So I'm using IBIT versus the Qs. And yeah, it's around 0.53, the same number. I hope so, and for the reason that if we are going to have a world in which Bitcoin is going to be part of people's portfolios, and as a crypto holder, not a crypto diehard, I feel like there's a chance that that's going to happen, and that's what a lot of the crypto guys want. It has to be uncorrelated in some way, right? People still to this day say gold is an asset that protects you against inflation, although it only did that once in the 70s. So 50 years ago, it was a hedge against one thing one time, and it's still part of people's portfolios today. So if Bitcoin is going to fill that diversification bucket, it has to decouple. And if you think about it just fundamentally or from a macro standpoint, there's no better time than now, because the entire bear market crash that we had is all based on tariffs, and Bitcoin should be the thing that is the most unaffected to tariffs. If anything, if you were trying to get around some of these rules and maybe, ship some things and take some money away from prying eyes, Bitcoin's going to be the way to do it. So if it is going to decouple, I would hope that that's now. And then I hope that it does, simply because then it makes sense to be a part of someone's portfolio. Because like you mentioned, right now and up until this point, it's essentially been you're buying the Qs, then you're buying Bitcoin that's going to move with the Qs, but just in an incredibly leveraged manner. So there's no real diversification benefit. It's just more juice. It's more beta. So if people are going to want, the whole world to have say 50% stocks and 40% bonds and 10% crypto, you have to see this decoupling. So it's doing it right now, like you mentioned. If you just look at the last couple days, the SPY, it was down, and on this day where we had a big push up, and then the SPY didn't move, where we also had a big push up. So there's been a few days of it, or a couple weeks even, of it kind of pulling apart. But we don't know if it's going to continue. Sadly, we won't only know with time, but I hope so. And I think, again, for Bitcoin to be kind of taken seriously, I think it needs it at some point.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Michael. We know that about 180 names in the S&P 500, so just under 40% of the index, are reporting this week. With it being such a huge earnings week, especially for a lot of these tech names and Mag 7's names, are there any specific tickers or even indices or ETFs that you're looking at to play this earnings season, or specifically this week?
I am still really flabbergasted or impressed with the strength in ITA, which is our defense sector, almost up near all-time highs, right? And, a lot of this had to do with the administration put out a big thing about how they're going to spend 20 to 30% more than anyone ever has on military. So that's going to be a big one. So I think from just interested to trade as it's moving higher, this is what I'm interested in. I think overall, what we need to be watching for this earnings season is not the earnings numbers at all. I don't really think those will matter in the long run, whether a company beat or miss. It's all about the kind of after party, that call that happens after, where just like people were making memes and saying, oh, this CEO mentioned AI 73 times in his call that happened last year. This year, I think it's going to be all about how many times did they mention tariffs? How did they say they were affected by tariffs? And that's going to really decide, I think, to investors whether or not only is the company in trouble, but the whole market. So and I think Apple's on Thursday or something, but if Apple, for example, one of the largest companies in the world and manufactures a whole bunch of things, comes out and bluntly says, hey, we're worried about these tariffs, it's going to hurt our bottom line. Not only do I think that that's bad for Apple, but that's going to be kind of sobering for the whole world. Now that a lot of the market seems to be a little bit numb to messaging that's coming out of the White House back and forth, and will they, won't they of the negotiations, I think all eyes are on these really large cap tech companies and what they say about these tariffs and earnings, because being such a huge part of the NASDAQ, a huge part of the S&P 500, people really need to either get the okay that things are fine and they can continue to trade as is, or if they start to get that, people start to look at Tim Cook and he's sweating the whole time, then maybe it's going to be a little bit rougher for the market.
I got one more for you, Michael. Nat gas. It's one that you and I have spoken about in the past. It's one that I was quite bullish on to start the year. It was one of my picks, one of my 3 picks for it to be quite strong into the end of the year. But having watched the last little bit, especially towards the end of March onwards, and certainly in the majority of April, we sold off quite aggressively. So I have a couple of questions for you. One, we're below the 200 moving average again here on the daily, which was a concern to me because that was one of the technical levels we kept projecting over and over in the multi-year downtrend that nat gas had been experiencing. We're below it again. We're markedly below it, almost 30 pennies below. But I want to get your opinion on this. We had 2 areas of technical resistance here that really are glaring. That area high at around $3.40 back in October, which we tested again towards the end of November. Now we come back after an aggressive down move after breaking through $5 all the way down back right into that same area again. Does this mean anything to you that we're finding support at a key area of previous technical resistance, or is the bigger story here the loss of the 200 moving average again?
Yeah, I think both those things, obviously, that you mentioned are super important. Just, again, I'm out of nat gas because it did fail that breakout in the 20s. So, it ended up being a long hold for nothing. But I brought this up here, and this is something that a little bit of homework for your viewers. But if you look at the Wyckoff accumulation, which this is a pattern, it's a longer term pattern, but this is a pattern that people have been using for over 100 years. Richard Wyckoff was around the same time as Charles Dow and a lot of the people who basically invented technical analysis. And they noticed that this bottoming process you don't have to go as crazy to notice all these things. But the main thing was that, generally speaking, bottoming processes are these sideways accumulation zones, which we know that have generally a spring, they call it, and you can see that right here, where price just violates the low for just a little bit and then pops back up. And then the idea is that eventually, when we get to the highs, you get a little base at a high and away you go, right? So again, it's some more detailed reading for people, but I just kind of try to line this up just to show you that if you are a Wyckoff follower, which there's a lot of people out there, it is lining up perfectly in natural gas right now for a potential bottom. So although I'm not in it right now, it's putting in all of those signs that us technicians want to see for a potential bottom. What I think it needs at this point is just to stick the landing. So if I was a little bit braver, maybe I would actually be accumulating some right here and just leaning against the lows for a stop, but that's just a little bit too wide from a percentage point of view. I think what I want to see is it back above 20 and back above that 200-day moving average, and I'll probably continue to take shots. If we get a good clear for a couple of days of the 200-day moving average, I think I'll probably pop back in and then use that 200-day moving average as a stop, because it's one of those psychologically, because I had a pretty good gain from the prior trade, that I'm feeling okay potentially taking a shot again. But I still like natural gas here. I still think it's one of those that, you know, we went from, during the Russia-Ukraine war, from 142 down to 13. So I still think it's got some room to bounce back in it. And I am seeing some technical signs that the low may be in. I just want to see a little more confirmation. I think that $20 makes perfect sense to play against.
Michael, especially the comps between Wyckoff there, almost an overlap that you were looking at there. Great looking, great information for all our viewers, Michael. Thank you for being on. Hopefully we'll see you Friday.
I'll talk to you guys on Friday. Oh, and just if anyone's going to be in New York at the StockTwits event for the cash tag thing, I forgot to say earlier, come on by and say hi. I'll be there. I'll be in New York from Tuesday until Thursday.
There you go. Make sure to reach out to Michael. Thank you so much, Michael, for being on. Interesting day at Dara today. I mean, we kind of started the day negative, and then we had a little bit of a move in the pre-market. We were going to go green. We decidedly went red when the market opened, and we stayed red for a while. And Donald Trump didn't take the day off in terms of tweeting. He was quite active, but we continued to rally. I think maybe around 1 o'clock, 1:30 or so, we started catching a bid.
I think it was around near the end of your guys' midday show, if I remember correctly. Yep. We did get a little bit of a bid. Donald Trump is known for not taking a day off from tweeting or posting, that's for sure. I'm even listening to him right now talking at this super event, just honoring the Super Bowl champions, the Eagles. And once again, he takes this opportunity to repeatedly mention teams from New York. But yeah, so interesting times are happening here. Donald Trump talking, nothing market related. I'm pretty sure he's reading off of a script.
Yeah, and definitely if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you don't want to hear anything about the Giants. Neither do I. I'm a Cowboys fan. All right, guys, Fabian has hit the siren. That means it's time for us to go. But we will see you bright and early tomorrow, everybody here at the team from Trader TV. We'll see you tomorrow, guys, at 8:30. Take care.